and welcome. We have got a super fun episode planned for today, and I'm so glad you're here. And also, I'm so glad about who's joining us today to play with us. So, today we've got the wonderful Charlie. Yay! And surprise special guest, Doll. Woohoo! And you know him, I love him. It's our technical producer, Tom. Yay!
Howdy.
Who also introduced himself today as Trailer Park Jesus. So best of luck to everybody on that. Now, once I've said it, you can't unsee it.
I feel partly responsible for the mood, tone, and tenor of today. So.
Yes. Although we were having wonderful conversations backstage, so I regret none of it. So yeah, it was wonderful.
That's fun.
Yeah, I was like having just kind of a quiet sort of day. I had slept in, and because my bed was too soft and squishy today to get out, it was very hard. So essentially, I was sort of running late, but yet still not really fully awake. And instead, this has been my day backstage. It's been actually quite lovely. So. Before we go much further, I just want to go ahead and say hi's. Spence is here. Hello, duckies. And Carrie is here. Hello, hello. CB is here. Hello. Let's see. I think that is everybody in the chat. Spence says I'm going to go right in with the weather talk because it is snowing and I'm mad. All right. Well, Spence is keeping me on there. If
Send me some of that snow. I want it.
I wish, yes. How is the weather in everybody's neck of the woods? I am literally pulling up my weather right now. And Carrie says we've got this sloppy snow rain mix. We're in Carrie's neck of the woods. And then Carrie's like, Doll! All exclamations. And Spence is like, Charlie and Doll! Ooh! Megan is here. Hello, not really here. So Megan's not really here.
It's good to see you.
But Megan has a job interview tomorrow. Oh, congratulations, honey. Let's see. It is 61 degrees Fahrenheit in my neck of the woods, and it has finally stopped raining. It has rained all weekend. It was the wettest weekend. We got several inches of rain. Tom was genuinely worried about flooding in the car yesterday trying to drive home. It was bad.
So our weather creature just made everything into mud. And then the mail person did not stay on the road when they delivered our mail on Saturday. So they carved like a tire furrow into the yard, and the rain went, New River! Woohoo!
Oh, no.
Oh, further.
Oh, dear.
It has gone from, that used to be a tire tread to, we have a trench. Yay.
Yes, you got a trench now. Yep. Well, I mean, you are like built on a marsh or a swamp, though, right?
It was a swamp when my family originally came here, and for some reason they like Will Smith, thought swamps were pretty.
I don't get it. I mean, if you've ever actually been to a swamp, why would you think that?
Because
did they keep the alligators away from you? Like, why would you think, yay, swamp?
According to the elders who remember the first ones who moved here, they talked about how pretty the swamp was when they first saw it and how they just wanted to live here. And I'm just like, what was wrong with these people? Like, I don't understand.
What the heck? Yes.
Well, yes, I haven't gotten malaria recently. Let's live here.
Fun fact. We still, science is still not sure where the malaria went in America. Because there used to be malaria, and that is a terrible disease. Genuinely a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad disease. And to this day, science still hasn't figured out what happened to the malaria in America. So stay tuned for that mystery. One day, hopefully, they'll solve. Megan says it's 60 degrees and mostly sunny. That sounds lovely, Megan. Everett has stopped by. Hello, Everett. Spence says they've traded the seasonal skydew for more of the devil's cocaína, and I'm not sure she approves. Michael C.B. Chen. Hello, Michael. We are still talking about weather. If you want to pipe in. Let's see. Carrie says, the forecast says my favorite rainy activity is going back inside and putting my friggin' pajamas back on. Agreed. It rained and hailed and tornadoed all weekend here. It was a very overly dramatic weekend, quite honestly. And even last Wednesday, it was, we had tornado warnings, and we were concerned we'd have to go back to the bathroom bunker again during our stream on Twitch. And Michael says we're getting some wet snow here. Ugh.
I just feel like the sky threw a tantrum. Like, it was very Ozark weather over the weekend because it was very loud and very, like, it made a fuss. It made a real big fuss, but like the wind didn't really blow. Like, it never really got like its heart in the place to be destructive. It was just like, "Rah!"
Yeah, I think most of the bad weather went right under the Ozarks. So mid to southern Mississippi.
It did sound like we had angry giants running around in the foothills because
Mhm.
the thunder would just boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
Like, it sounded like angry
literally,
neighbors
it was
up
just
there.
like climate change. Look at me. I am suffering climate change. That's what I'm doing here. Okay, I'm done. Bye.
It kind of was like that at several points where like it was just so much thunder. It's like climate change, because I don't remember it being this bad since the 80s. Like where it's like storm after storm after storm, and it's all thunder, all drama all the time. Like I
And it
felt
was so
bad for the
loud.
neighborhood dogs.
It was just so loud.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because it wasn't like, oh, there's thunder. It was just like, oh, the house just shook. Was that an earthquake? No, just thunder. Like, just
Is it an
everything
earthquake?
kind of.
No, just
No,
thunder.
yeah.
Just thunder.
No, for me, it was like yesterday I heard a sound and I was like, this is the wrong day for trash pickup, because it had that sound like, you know, when the trash trucks come by and they have the servo
my
kind of
God.
gives out right before it's done hitting the ground, and you hear that thunk. And I was like, is there trucks loading and unloading? What is it? No, that's thunder. Eva is here. Hello, dear. And Eva says it is 52 and sunny out, some wind.
Oh, nice.
Chilly hoodie weather. Everett says we had terrible storms around midnight. I bet.
Yeah, you got ours.
Yep, you got
Once
ours.
I finished here.
Eva says going to see some 80-degree weather in the coming week, and
Yep.
lots of storms are forecasted. I'm excited. Yeah, we've got 80-degree weather forecasted, but it really doesn't look like any storms. Just
I don't talk about weather unless it's like freezing outside and I can go outside and walk in the snow, and then and then the tourists are like singing "Let It Go" to me because
oh dear. Oh dear. It's like, why are tourists calling me out?
That was the first time it happened was in Hungary. I was the Danube literally froze over, and people were hiding because it was a cold winter. That was back in winter of 2017, and I never saw the Danube frozen before since I moved there. So of course I wanted pictures, and of course I wanted to do like long exposure stuff. And I was like sitting at the bridge making pictures, and then the tourists were just passing by like, let it go, let it go. I was like, seriously? Why?
Oh my goodness.
Why? So yeah, that's the weather for me. I only talk about it if I am in that condition.
Right, yeah. This is very nice. Yeah, Everett says we're supposed to have 80s in the next week, and I'm pissed off about it. Not ready for the coming summer heat. Yes. The
I'm not ready for summer.
That we get with that kind of heat is it's pretty serious. It's very much all your old wrinkles will come out of your clothes, and then you'll have new wrinkles.
Yeah. That Glory, when you were talking about creating your own like little community houses and stuff, I was like, that is the only reason why I don't want to be there.
Right? Yes,
because of the heat. I'm like, no, I'm gonna melt alive. No.
Yeah, but you should know us by now. They will all be over air conditioned.
Yes.
Yeah. Mine will be like the tundra house over there with like snow.
I'm a big believer in overly adequate insulation. I am very much an advocate for heavy duty insulation here, in part because it goes hand in hand with having it very cold air conditioned. You know, you don't want to let the cold air out. So
I'm just a believer in 500 square feet and 3-ton air conditioners.
Oh yes. If everything goes well, so I can survive the summers. If everything goes well, I know it's like super late for doing that in summer in Argentina, but I don't give a fuck. That's why they are on sale. I got a portable air conditioner on my way, so I can just put it there. So next summer I'm not gonna die.
Whenever it's the best sale, that's when you get it.
Exactly.
And especially, and it's not like, portable air conditioners are for only one season every year. It's like,
yes. Well, they do help with the humidity too. And Cherry Panda is here. Hello, dear. So today's episode is about titles. And specifically, this one was another one of Tom's pitches about, hey, let's share like all these different games, parlor type games that we play to figure out titles. And so first off, I just want to say play is the most important part of this.
Yes.
If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right, my darlings. Yeah. So, and I see Maggie's here as well. Hello, sweetie. So again, like whatever we're like proposing and the variations that we're going to try to play today, and that we're hopefully everybody in chat will also chime in with too. Understand it's supposed to be fun. So if that means you got to change the rules for it to be fun for you, then by golly, start changing rules. If you need to make a variation or a little twist on it for it to be fun or easier for you so you can have fun doing it, again, absolutely. Because like these are not hard and fast rules. This is not a game of ball where like, oh no, there's 500 rules and you all have to follow. No, this is not like that. This is just like fun games that we would play as family in the car. We play over the dinner table because it turns out no member of my family actually wants to have real conversations with each other. So instead we play parlor games, which was great. It worked out fine. We're totally a fine family. It's totally fine. And, like we would just play these games anytime there was a quiet moment. And, when other people, at least in family drama movies or books, would have heartfelt conversations, instead our family would play these headline and title games. And so pretty much you start off with a title or a headline you've seen, and that is what is put forth before the board to then everyone start riffing on. And that's sort of the basic premise of most of these games that we're now going to play for the next, little bit, is this idea of, can we make a better title? Can we make a funnier title? Can we make a more interesting title, a more clickable title? Whatever. Like the goal may be slightly different, but ultimately everybody's just having fun. There's no right or wrong. Although definitely in our family, the stronger a reaction you could get out of any other person playing definitely meant you got a point. If they could not contain their reaction, was like, oh my God, then you definitely would get a point. So anything that got a strong emotional reaction definitely got a point. And we didn't really keep track of the points. It's kind of like Whose Line Is It Anyway, where the points don't matter. That was sort of how our family played as well. It's just meant to pass the time. And so Tom, was thinking, why don't we share this with everyone else? Because one of the things we were kind of surprised about was probably in a lot of families are like this, of like, wait, everyone else doesn't play this game that our family plays, that our family maybe kind of sort of invented, and it's like, we would love to share this with the rest of the world so that maybe more people play this game, because let's be honest, it makes you better editors and writers. It won't hurt.
I mean, we do come from a family of editors.
Yes.
Which is also why our conversations are editorials.
Yes, it's true. We can't help ourselves. Family, all we do is mold editors. That's all we do.
I'm going indie now. I'm not querying anymore because I got sick of that bullshit. So I'm here now, and it's like, now I'm doing it all on my own. So I better figure out better titles. I'm good at titles. I think. I'm just gonna try.
I got some stuff for you.
Woo!
I've got your book set up as an example of one way to do titles.
Is there anything further in this pitch that I forgot on this one, or did you want to say anything further that's come to you?
I mean, we will probably go over a couple different concepts and ideas, but to me, the biggest trick to titles is what we now understand as the concept of memes, which is you want to go with a thought everyone hears throughout their life and throughout their daily life. Whether it's a common saying or a phrase or an image, that is part of the trick of titles. Because if you can get something related to that concept, people will look at it going, wait, that sounds familiar, even if it's the first time they've ever heard of this title. So that's usually where you get those little bonus points we were talking about of getting people to smirk and laugh and smile. Also, kind of what we were talking about before with the Muppets, is you want to hit that familiarity bell. Mm-hmm. And that's another way you can always get.
You're trying to get around the idea that in advertising and marketing, there is a concept, it has been studied, and it is somewhere between a person needs to be exposed to an idea, a concept, a thing, 19 to 21 times before they ever even consider engaging with it.
Whether we're talking about toothpaste, it exists.
Yeah, it doesn't even register in their brain as a thing until they've been exposed 19 to 21 times. So when you are able to use some sort of memeing or cliche or something, and you're riffing on that for a title, you're essentially tapping into that of getting those exposures in without actually getting those exposures in.
So how do you explain the famous, like, super mega bestseller, famous, ultra universal movies and books titles?
Advertising. They just pay for the exposure.
Oh yeah, they pay to have that seen so many times that no matter what you're doing, you will be exposed to that title in newspaper and magazine covers, advertisements for their favorite restaurants and fast food, as well as advertisements for the movie and the video game. That's what all these tie-ins are for, is to get you familiar with words like, the Hunger Games.
It's also important to remember that when you see a movie budget and say they're spending $100 million on the movie, they will on average spend $100 million on the ads as well. Yeah. So whatever the budget is for the movie to make it, they generally spend an equal amount just in advertising.
That's why if a movie doesn't make a minimum double its the budget that they say it had, it's considered a flop in Hollywood, because it still hasn't actually paid back all the cost it took to market it,
right,
as well as make it.
Yeah, and that includes like doing all these promotional materials where you'll see them reposted on, what is it, like Bleeding Cool and Screen Rant and CBR and all of these about, Tom Holland says that he never showed his butt in whatever. All of these are actually also advertisements that are thrown out as not advertisements, as, quote, relevant articles, but they are all actually ghostwritten by publishing, by marketing folks, and then they are given out for free so that companies can take those, like publishing companies such as, like, for instance, Screen Rant, and they don't have to give a byline. They don't have to credit who actually wrote it, because if you knew who wrote it, then you would know who they work for, because you could look that up and then see it is not somebody in-house who wrote it. It's actually a marketing article.
And they don't have to, actually say that one's an advertisement, even though it's actually an advertisement.
And like newspapers will do it as filler space when they don't have enough articles written by in-house reporters and journalists. They will literally just, okay, what have you heard lately is coming out soon? And you then go to the website, you go to the press section, and you just literally copy and paste any of them that have that triple hashtag at the top and the bottom. Means that's free to take, and you don't have to credit anybody, and you don't have to pay them either. But because it's advertising, they've written it out as a seemingly legitimate article, but it's actually advertising, because they're trying to get in all those exposures. to get that 19 to 21 exposures before a person even thinks that this thing is real, like the movie or whatever, or another Marvel film.
And that's also though why they do not start the advertising. We always see these advertising bursts. Why all of a sudden it pops up and not before? Because you can exhaust an audience with this exposure, and then they lose interest after about 2 to 3 months of this overexposure.
And if you really want to study that, go back into the archives of the internet and watch the whole snakes on a plane thing. Because that was meant to be a catchy title to get people like, oh my goodness, what in the world? What kind of B movie madness is this? But the internet grabbed it and made it into such a meme that there was actually a lot more content that went out that by the time the movie came out, nobody went to see it because everybody was tired.
Yeah.
Like, it had already burnt itself out by the time the movie came out. Like, it was obviously a smart idea because it got everybody like making the jokes, but the name got out too early and the internet went crazy too early. And
like in my brain, it's why hasn't Doctor Strange already come out? Because I've seen so many references since what's it with Vision, the Marvel TV series last year.
WandaVision.
Yeah, WandaVision.
Since WandaVision came out, I keep seeing these references, and so my brain's like, hasn't this already gone to theaters? Isn't it time for home audience?
Like the pandemic has really wreaked havoc with a lot of marketing because a lot of films went into their pre-marketing buzz.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the slowdown that happened in Hollywood, a lot of the movies that are coming out, it's not just the Marvel ones or any of the others. It just feels like, wait, that I thought that came out like 2 years ago. Because the early PR pushes started, and then they were like, oh, well, that movie's not going to be done for a while, or, oh, maybe that killer virus subplot is not the idea that it should have been. Let's completely redo this movie. Which I can think of 3 movies that had to do that.
Versus, you want to see it done well, and the way Hollywood wants to do it, look at Sonic 2 that just came out, where the marketing hit, only a month and a half before the movie came out, so that by the time people were interested in it, it was right there at theaters.
Yes.
See, I wish that they would start doing that with like election cycles, because
yes,
no
more 2-year election cycles.
Yeah. No. 6 weeks, 2 months. That's all we need.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll
Agreed.
go vote now. We all have so much fatigue from that, but it's very strange though. And another phenomenon is they keep remaking these movies that have been being made over and over and over and over, and it's like, so this is what
there's no will to take risks to do new things.
Yeah, this is what Batman Origin 17 or something.
In a lot of ways, though, that's an audience problem because a lot of the newer stories don't get the same buzz. They don't get the same audience draw. And if you're, especially like, I don't feel sorry for Warner Brothers because they're an evil corporation that deserves what they're getting right now. But in a way, like, I feel sorry for the people that are in the stressful jobs in that company right now trying to figure out how to go forward, because all they have left is the Queen of Turf Island and her franchise that nobody wants to watch anymore. And their superhero series, which is helmed by a serial abuser who can't stay out of jail.
Oh, did you hear that they wanted to reboot the entire thing? Yep. And everyone's like, but you just started it. What do you mean reboot it?
And it's like, I get where they're coming from, that they need to stick with the things that are making them the monies, because that's how a film studio works, is only a few of their movies make the money that pay for all of the other movies that come out. So a lot of the movies that we love lose money. Like they're simply for prestige. They're there to say, look, see, we make art films as well. But the bills are paid by the larger franchises, and they're being extremely mismanaged in every possible way.
I think the thing that they're counting on is like the title, the power of the title of Batman or Marvel Universe. They're counting on that that blockbuster thing, that huge thing. And, because, every 4 or 5 years, there's a new generation aging up into this fan base.
Yes.
And unfortunately, those of us that have been around for more than 2 cycles of this rebooting, it's like I said about the election fatigue.
Yes.
We have title fatigue. We have cinema fatigue. We have, okay, yay, another version. And I think that is where Hollywood is going wrong. I mean, I would love to see a reboot of Batman with Dick Grayson.
I would love to see a reboot of Batman where they remember that comic book movies are supposed to be fun.
No. Because I've seen the memes that keep coming out. Let's just make the joke. Because as they point out, I'd like to see a reboot of Batman where they also reset the brightness level back to the original Batman movie.
Like just anything, because
it keeps having how dark it is, or how bright it is, rather.
It should be Gray Man. It should be Gray Man because of the color palette of the movie.
Yes.
Like the theater's actually putting out a printed sign. We know there will be no refunds for seeing the Batman. We know how dark it is. That's how dark the movie they sent it to us.
And I thought it was a blindness problem.
Nope.
No.
No. I think it's a rush problem, because you can always tell when they didn't do adequate work in the filming, because suddenly they want the CGI artist to darken everything.
Yeah.
So that you can't see all the details that don't blend in.
Yep.
You got to darken out all the water bottles and the coffee.
I just saw, like, I didn't see it because, one of the things that annoy me the most about all this rebooting bullshit is I don't watch movies. I watch like the clips on YouTube, and I just stick with that because I don't care. But that Lion King remake and that Scar attempt of whatever that was, no, I'm sorry. I'm staying with the animated version. I don't give a about the remake. For me, it doesn't exist. It's just like the movie that shall not be named. That was the Avatar thing that doesn't exist. No. That doesn't. Yeah. I'm just not sticking for that.
D23 got me on April Fools because I had such hopes, even though I know like this sounds real questionable, that Walt Disney's Last Will and Testament, they just noticed had a clause of no remakes or sequels, so they were going to stop doing the live actions. I was like, oh, thank God. No, April Fools, I hate you.
Yeah, but
my hopes up.
The good thing about the live action remakes, though, is we ended up getting both Cruella and Maleficent, and I'm here for them. And I'm kind of upset that we're getting the Little Mermaid, because I would be there for Ursula, because the villain as hero stories have been really pretty interesting.
That is interesting, because that is not exactly a remake. It's kind of like a twisted version of, here's the villain version. Yeah.
And those have worked out really well for them. This is something that I think a lot of us writers tend to have a hard time with, though, is trying to keep in touch with mainstream audiences. And understanding...
I am not even in America, so how do I do that? I just don't, because like I'm just wearing I'm a foreigner cape
on Twitter for entertainment. Will really show you where the mainstream is, because we're having discourses on this side from the creative standpoint, from a more I don't want to say intellectual, but like we're dissecting a lot of this. When you look at what
analytical side,
the mass number of the mass populace is talking about, they're not here.
The problem is they have been convinced that this is top tier entertainment. Yep. This is the best that it can be. And so when they come across something that is really, really mind blowing, they don't know how to process it. And I think that is I mean, I hate to make this implication that Hollywood has been dumbing down their audiences for the last 3 decades.
I mean,
but
it's not an implication. It's
dot.
It's a fact.
Well, I know I'm the biggest apologist on the internet for Lana and Lily Wachowski, but it's one of those things that I find myself like when every time I have a conversation with somebody that's like, I don't get their movies, and then I explain the movie to them and they're like, can we watch it again? And then like watch people turn into super fans, because I'm not saying that they're the greatest filmmakers who have ever lived, but there is a lot more thought.
We will have to watch Sense8 together, so you can.
Sense8.
I did not. Riley is not an Icelandic approved government name. Please do your research. Thank you. Tack för.
I would say the real problem I've noticed Wachowskis have is they are great at the high concept.
Mm-hmm.
They're good at editing, but they are poor at making sure the main story concept that they're trying to get across is in there in the beginning, so people know what they're getting in for. They're always like, discover it later. It's like, if you are not the audience who already has the background to get it, then it's much harder, and it's an over editing issue.
Well, I
also feel that they fall into the camp where they're kind of the James Joyce of modern cinema, where they are already making post-structuralist movies that, like, oh, that's just way too many layers of abstraction that I
didn't mind the layers. I do mind the portrayal of foreign cultures poorly. That's where you hear my complaints, and that's why I didn't like Sense8. Oh, so we have the villainess, this mafiosa villainess from Italy. Okay, darling, seriously. Like, can we just stop? You see, I could go on and on about the tropes and stereotypes about foreign cultures in Sense8 for hours, and that's not the project for this stream. That's why I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, you're not gonna convince me.
Stop talking about me without me being here, man.
Hi, Laura.
Did you just feel so called out for just darken everything?
Well, it's not Laura's fault.
Not that it has anything to do with what we're supposed to be talking about today, but go on. The darkness of film.
We have people making movies and writing books from the inside of that world. They're not the readers. They're not the viewers. They are not outside that world. And so when they pick a starting place, they're already inside that world.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is they're like, oh, well, and that's why the remakes, like the Marvel Universe remakes and the DC comic remakes, that's why these get so much traction, is because everyone already knows these worlds. But you have other things coming out, and you drop right in the middle of these worlds, and it's like, how did we get? And and it's basically escape pod syndrome.
And like, how many times do we need to see Batman's parents die on screen?
Every time, apparently.
We never get the Uncle Ben story, really, for the new Spider-Man trilogy that's out now. And it's like, how did that go down? I kind of need to know. It's kind of an important thing, the great responsibility thing. Like, okay, we see where it comes in now, but like, that's kind of a character-defining motivation thingy.
And again, that's the over-editing. You have now edited out the core of these characters, how they act and why they act that way. You're assuming the audience already knows that, but you're also trying to bring in an entire new generation of audience.
Yeah, that's
know that.
But I've seen this.
What informs the character.
I've seen this in my own writing, because I did not make a big thing about it when the books originally came out. But Shine Like Thunder is basically a postmodern retelling of Sinbad the Sailor in Space, and The Chain is a postmodern retelling of Cupid and Psyche. And those two stories, even without me giving people that up front, were my best selling stories, because people already clicked in and saw oh, this is what this is. Like, if you're familiar with that kind of We're going to go out. We're going to get shipwrecked. Madcap adventures are going to happen. It was a story that people were familiar with enough that they were able to go around along with my really weird space vampires.
Okay, but back to dark movies. It's not always the movie's fault. We went as a company to go watch the opening of Resident Evil: The Final Chapter that we all worked on. It's really dark. They put a polarizer on the projector that made it even darker.
Oh my God, why?
It's not always the film. Sometimes it's the projectionist. There's
why would you put a polarizing lens on it?
Although I did see a great video from I don't think it was Filmmaker IQ, but it was one of the big ones on YouTube, where they explained, all right, what is up in the last decade with the look of Hollywood movies? And the simple answer is, so you had all of these directors and producers going to digital. Mm-hmm. They did not have a concept, or at least no one explained to these people in power the concept of color space, which is, what do these set of digital ones and zeros represent in actual color and brightness? And they imported them very poorly. And they're like, no, but I want this look of this other famous movie whose director had no idea about color space. And they're now taking it as an aesthetic.
Yes, I heard about
that. Well, I think that part of the whole movies all of a sudden being, of certain genres of movies just being dark or just being gray or just being beige, I think that is almost becoming a genre trait. Like when you go to the bookstore and you expect romances to have a naked guy on the cover, and YA dystopia has a girl with magic or something behind her in the cover, and
it's becoming
all have the guy with the cowboy hat.
It is becoming sort of a trope or an aesthetic in and of itself, and that is actually relevant to what we're going to talk about with title games, because you've got to, in your title, have almost immediate recognition from your potential reader of, oh, I understand the basic idea of the genre that this story is written in, or like that this story is about family drama or whatever. It has to be very quick recognition based on that current 5-year season of naming conventions. Whether we're talking about superhero stories, or we're talking about family dramas, or we're talking about, dystopian magic worlds, or whatever that story is about.
I love how you keep bringing up the family drama thing, because I'm here and I know it's with me.
Oh no, I always find family dramas, to me, so many people talk so lovingly about them, and for the most part, when I'm like, oh, everybody's talking about this, I go get the book or the movie, and I'm like, this is so freaking boring. And then, like the true hypocrite I am, still working on one that Tom and I call our working title is Scenes from a Briss. And it's all family drama, and I think it's hilarious that we've been for several years working on a family drama when I don't really care for most family dramas.
I mean, I'm honest about my thing. It is a sci-fi because of the setting and the time period and all that. Okay, sure, it's a sci-fi, but hey, it's a family drama. There's a lot of family abuse and stuff there. You don't want to go in there without knowing that it's a family drama.
But I'm glad you bring it up. That's also the part that gets lost a lot in stories of like, what is it people go for? Well, the superhero stuff we've seen, again, they got confused about why do people watch superhero movies. They keep thinking it's the spectacle, so they keep giving them bigger spectacle. We go see superhero because superheroes are just, another iteration on the road of soap operas and family drama. Mm-hmm. We follow it because these people with far more power than we could ever dream of still have our day-to-day problems, and we want to see how they have to still deal with it.
I would venture to say it's found family or chosen family drama.
Yeah.
Because often superheroes have to make a new family because they can no longer be themselves around their family of origin. And I think that is very interesting to a lot of people, since so many people have to go out there and make their own family for a variety of reasons. And so I think that's why there is such an interest in these superhero stories. And that, yes, executives and even writers don't seem to understand what is the draw of it. No, it's just chosen family drama. Give us chosen family drama. That's all. That's what we want. Is how do I solve problems with people who don't have to be around me? They choose to be, and I don't know why they're still here.
Well, was that not the entirety of Eternals?
Lately, I don't know. The entire superhero genre is I'm a superhero, but I need therapy. Come on, raise your hand if you've thought that.
See,
I'm the superheroes, and you'd be like, "Oh, honey,
you need therapy and a support group as well as your therapy."
No. They don't need therapy. The story won't be there if they get therapy. I'm here for the mess. Like I watch superhero drama for the same reason I like reading the Iliad and the Odyssey, because I like it when the gods' issues start messing with people. Like that's what I am here for, these stories, which is the family drama. It is the found family drama.
Versus if you want to see superheroes with therapy and, a cheerful side, that's why The Flash on CW has, stayed going for so long. Yep. There's literally a therapist in the Flash series that they go to periodically for marriage counseling and individual therapy. It's the only time I've ever seen this. I think there was one special episode where they did bring the Green Arrow there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he just refused to, do anything of it, just to truly show how messed up this character was.
Well, I mean, you look at other, like, there are a couple of series, Criminal Minds, basically they were all therapists, or the NCIS, they've got, they will have, like, the therapist, there'll be an episode where the therapist is there and they're like sitting there staring at the therapist, and the therapist is like, so let's start again. And it's, those just classic moments of, of like making therapy look like something that might actually help someone. I really appreciate that.
Yes.
And I really appreciate that the characters show that they resent that they have to go talk to the therapist, because that's real world too. But it's so many of these superhero movies. They've become Indiana Jones and the Ark of the Covenant. Because realistically, if you take Indiana Jones out of the movie, everything happens exactly the way it would have happened, without this guy running around and stuff happening around him. I mean,
please let me say it.
They still find the art
of white men.
They still have the art, and the Nazis still open it, and it still ends up in a warehouse in the Great American Desert. And so the whole, and that's what superhero movies are becoming. They're becoming so about everything but the superhero that you could just pull the superhero out and still have pretty much the same movie.
Welcome to nihilism.
It's been annoying me with the kaiju movies.
Yeah.
Like, why are we focusing on these human protagonists that nobody cares about?
Exactly.
Give me the monsters fighting.
Yeah, I want the monster backstory.
Don't go clash, shut the door,
me how
just
Mothra,
listen.
Best mom. I want to hear that. How is Mothra the best kaiju mommy ever? I want to know.
Know what your audience wants, and don't just steal titles so people will go, I recognize that, I'm going to go watch that, and have nothing to do with the source material.
Well, and that's happening in books right now, though. And we've all seen it. We've all seen, and it's become a meme. Titling has become a meme. You see a thing on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and it's like your favorite color or your zodiac sign or month of birth and the first letter of your name or the last thing you ate, or what color is your underwear, is your this and this of this.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's like, so many authors are falling into that trap of Throne of Bones and Stone of Skulls and Gauntlet of Gravy. I mean, really?
Okay, but Maggie,
I
if
would
you offered
read
me
the
a gauntlet
Gauntlet.
of gravy,
I would read Gauntlet
As
of
a
Gravy
southerner,
and Fries. I would
would walk
read
that
Gauntlet
gauntlet.
of Gravy and Fries. Just
I
it
would.
is-
You know, like I'm
it
like
is
that is a southern dream. What are you talking about? How
No,
dare you come
Glory.
for my gravy?
Okay, and you ready for the sequel title? You ready for the sequel?
What is it? Is it a sort of biscuits? What is?
No, Gauntlet of Gravy 2: Rise of the Poutine.
Okay, so let me like try to steer this back to the original premise of this episode, where we really play with titles, Charlie.
And you see though how a good title does make you want to read
Right?
a
Like
story.
you get that emotional reaction. You're
your
like,
interest.
okay, but I do want that. So you write down anything again that gets an emotional reaction from anyone else. Because even if you're like, no, I'm never going to publish something called The Gauntlet of Gravy. Number one, never say never. That's what my mother would always say.
that's a cookbook title to me. That's
And number two, it may still stir and inspire like a couple ideas down.
It's a cozy Gauntlet of Gravy is a cozy romance based around a Southern competition cooking show.
No, let it be an annual cooking competition in this one town.
Please,
that
Maggie.
way you can do a murder mystery if you want.
Oh, please,
don't make this
murder
work,
people at the Gravy Gauntlet. Yeah.
See, your setting is just like, I don't know how we got to New Orleans and decadence is going on, but like this is getting worse in my head. Like the more
you saw what I did on
I would pay the $3 for
Grayson's Instagram when he posted that thing, and I was like, oh, I can write this book. And then now he's like, you need to write this book about two chefs in a Creole cooking competition.
Right.
So
okay.
I just want to take umbrage with the poll that you put up, because nowhere in there did you include shonen manga titles, because they are the greatest titles in history.
That's an unfair competition.
You mean light novels?
Random words followed by random letters and numbers.
It is not fair that YouTube only gives us 4 options for a poll.
Also, I should point out, shonen mangas are known for putting the literal high concept as the title. What's the one I keep forgetting?
That time
to
I
finish
died
watching?
and got reincarnated as a slime.
No.
Watch that one too.
No. What if the kid from the town next to the last dungeon went to a beginner town? That is the title of this manga and anime. Because they couldn't come up with something shorter.
I get crazy titles for my work in progress. For my whips, I will use a sentence for a title, like how I became, for my fungal zombie apocalypse one, it's how I became a crazy cat lady to survive the zompocalypse. And that's the working title.
That's a strong anime title right there.
That is a strong anime title. And honestly, the sub-working title is Imhotep's famous fungus killed us all.
Again, that is also quite a strong title, I must admit.
Yeah.
Now, so for the poll, who has the best titles? 38% said movies. 23% voted for books. 23% voted for newspaper/magazine articles. And 15% voted for video games.
Video games.
Watch that anime.
Video games have the best titles and the best music right now.
Oh yeah, they do.
And I'll fight you. I'll die on that. Like Spence says, that's a hill I'll die on, because some video games right now have some awesome music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I was playing over the weekend, Saturday night, Kickstart Heroes or Kick something Heroes, and it reminded me of No, I actually do like rock music. It's just most of the current rock music that's being promoted, I don't care for that style. But the stuff in this, yeah, go on. I like it.
I need to introduce you to pagan rock, because though I am not technically one, there is a whole like subgenre that I did not know. That's like, what if the 70s were today, but like flute solos? Like, why is there a flute solo, and why is it like the best thing I've ever heard in my life?
Are you?
I like epic rock.
Can you name a band?
So you'd have things like let's see. Well, Witchcraft obviously is one of the bands in this genre. You have Lucifer does a lot of things in this genre. Coven, not to be confused with the death metal band, because we don't trademark band names apparently anymore. And they all have like super, super witchy names. One of my favorite songs is called Lolly Willows. If you look that up, you'll find it. That's by Blood Ceremony. And like you look at the bands and you're just like, what in the world am I getting into in this music? And they're just like, let's go have a fun party in the woods.
Is it similar? Is it similar to Iluvaiti?
I don't even know how to describe it other than like it's what would happen if the 70s hadn't stopped.
Cool.
And they decided cocaine was bad. Like it's got a very like rock. It is a rock vibe, but it just went off on its own little side tangent for about 25 years when no one was paying attention to it, and became like Blood Ceremony is one of my favorite bands right now. And their name sounds so menacing, and like half of their songs are just like, why can't I tell the guy that I like that I love him? I guess I'll go sit in the woods and watch it rain. Like
everybody has an emo phase.
Like they're just so pretty. They're so pretty.
Well, and on that note, how about we take a 10-minute bio break, and when we come back, more titles, more silliness, more all of this, and more. How about that? All right. Well,
but really, like, I want to see that anime Cherry who's referencing the daily lives of tiny mummies. Like that just sounds
secret lives of tiny mummies.
It just sounds adorable.
I think real.
that's a real anime.
Jules was talking about it a while ago. Yeah.
Just goes to show. Well,
it's literally a little tiny mummy.
Oh my god. In approximately 10 minutes. Beep, 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 beep. You did it. The dinosaurs are proud of you.
What are you
You
saying?
scared me.
Do you need a cookie?
Does everybody have their snacks?
Hello, Heather.
Hey, Heather.
Hello.
Heather.
Oh, Laura, can you send that my way? I am desperate for any kind of moisture at all. We had 2 more fires today.
Oh dear.
There's rain on my window, but it's fluttering like snow,
Oh,
so
it probably is snow.
maybe
Yeah.
it's sleet. Who knows?
Oy.
By the way, I have to agree with Cherry after watching that music that Charlie posted of no amount of lighting and lighting tricks and fire is going to make this hardcore. It's just too wholesome.
And that is their whole shtick.
It's just
Like
it's just too wholesome.
Wholesome heavy
interviews with
metal.
her, it's just like she's just like your sweet auntie who's like come to the house and been like, "We're gonna party tonight." Yeah, like she just like she knows who she is, and I love that.
That's true. It does kind of make me want to go drink some wine. Oh, we're having fun. Everyone just looking at the woodwork to talk about how messed
It's
up all
only
the
going to
are
get more off the wall.
and fun titles.
So, if I understood correctly, Maggie's in an area that's basically burning, and Laura is having snow, and it's all
Yeah.
happening. And it's all happening at the same time.
Yep, and we just finished, almost flooding over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I live on the very edge of the Great American Desert, which is called the Great Plains. Laura lives north, and
I'm by Niagara Falls.
so northeast. And Tom and Glory live, and Charlie all live much further east on the opposite side. So they're getting all of the rain, and we're getting nothing.
Yeah, we're
Like,
close to the Mississippi River. We're both. Charlie is close to the Mississippi
Yeah.
River flow,
We're-
and we are too. So there's a certain amount of marsh and humidity that comes with that.
Yeah.
We're so dry right now. We had a wildfire that destroyed thousands of homes the day before New Year's. That's it.
Yeah, I
winter.
remember that. Yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
in winter. So it's
It-
like, yeah.
It's when we're supposed to have snow on the ground, it's nothing. Everything is just dry and brown. And I went out yesterday and just cleared all of the tumbleweeds that had blown in, everything that could possibly even think about combusting, just away from my house.
Russia has come to attack you personally. Well, it's where the tumbleweeds come from.
The Russian thistles.
Yeah, it's not part of North America.
Which is why they're so invasive.
And where I live, actually, we have like 5 different kinds of tumbleweeds. We don't
Oh,
just
Lord.
have the Russian thistles. We have some Ukrainian bulb flower thing that just is like this little ball of flowers, and then the flowers fall off and it just rolls. And
I heard that
Whoa, it's really snowing now.
the Russian thistles have actually crossed the Mississippi and are now considered an invasive species here in Mississippi as well. So we are actually having problems during the dry season in late summer with tumbleweeds starting to roll around Mississippi.
The problem
as well.
is tumbleweeds will pull gallons of water a day out of the ecosystem. And they leave behind what's called salted soil, almost like thuja trees.
Mhm.
As they're pulling stuff out of the soil, they're just leaving the salts behind, and then other things except tumbleweeds won't grow there anymore.
Mhm.
So, but no, a few years ago, well, I guess a decade ago now, we had a thing where we had like a tumbleweed storm come through, and it buried the high school gymnasium, and roads had 4 or 5 feet of tumbleweeds piled up on them because they were getting caught between the fences. And you would go to drive through it, and it would just literally scrape the paint off of your vehicles.
Wow.
That was a massive cleanup, and oddly, I was having to tell people that no, you cannot ship the tumbleweed you sold on eBay across the country to another state because it's illegal. But yeah, I don't know why, but there's people will try to buy tumbleweeds from out here. They're looking for that perfect round tumbleweed,
Right.
and it's like, please,
I've seen them use it for decorating. It's anyway.
Yeah.
tumbleweed
Yeah, it's hard.
Christmas trees.
Oh,
Spray
good.
paint them gold and make a tumbleweed Christmas tree.
Oh dear.
Oh god.
Well, anyway, so titles.
So I have a couple different ones to go over.
What you got,
Doll,
Tom?
a couple days ago, posted about needing title for the series. It was the middle of the night. Is my only excuse that the brain didn't entirely process.
Yeah,
So I just thought it was book titles, but I thought it would still be kind of fun to see the stuff my brain in the middle of the night was coming up with.
yeah, I do have the book titles, but I'm open to hear anything. What I was looking for is like the series itself. So, like, the series has a very sci-fi title, so that will clear me off to do whatever with each book's title,
And
I
so, like,
guess.
I want to show like one way to come up with titles and to work this is to just start with your genres and sort of your keywords. Like it does help to know what is it you are trying to get across to people. So like here is the keyword set I came up with for Doll's book and series. Give me just a sec. I'm hitting too many words.
Technical difficulty.
I trust Tom because Tom has seen the whole thing, and Tom was the only person so far, the only one who was like, "Is that clairvoyance woman's name a reference to?" And I was like, "Oh my god, yeah, finally someone." So I trust Tom. I trust you.
But I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of different things you can think of that deals with this story, and there's a lot of fun aspects.
Yeah.
Of yeah, like psychic killers. It's young adult. There's actually a lot of reference to rock music and music in general.
Oh yes. Yeah.
There is, nefarious scientists, but we also have planetary exploration.
Yeah.
Child soldier, blind
Okay.
heroes.
So the keywords are
Okay.
So first off, so one of the things when playing this game that as our family we kind of worked out as far as what helps make this more fun for everybody is if we're talking about say a newspaper or magazine article, we'll just give actually a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the whole thing. Of so you have a basic idea of the rundown of what is this article about. But for a book, obviously it's a little bit harder. So instead we would essentially give a person keywords. And so here are Tom's keywords that he's written out for a doll series. Astral projection, orbiting space station, psychic killer, young adult, 90s rock music, nefarious scientist, planetary exploration, child soldiers, blind hero, space medicine, late 21st century, we're both clicking things, future tech, conspiracy, save each other, religiosity, South America, multinational cooperation, United Nations, broken promises, disability, Cinderella, caged bird sings, and paramilitary.
Why Cinderella though?
Ace Arrow, anti-romance, sci-fi, paranormal, brothers in arms, trust the enemy, and espionage.
Oh my god! Why Cinderella though?
If you have a basic idea of your keywords, it helps. It doesn't mean, we're going to use all of these in the title game.
Oh no, of course not.
It's just more here's the rundown. Now, if you can use any keywords, even better. And then you start playing. Okay, so that's sort of the basic idea. Is this set in stone? Hell no. This is not.
No, but it's fun.
This is just, what we find sometimes helps.
And then also,
also
it helps to know, in this case, the book's genres. The 2 primary genres are going to be paranormal and sci-fi.
Yes, definitely.
If it wasn't obvious from the keywords. So we want to get that across in a title that this is both paranormal and sci-fi.
Yeah. Yeah. This is
And
gonna
so, yeah, believe me, wait till you see all the
Murders
titles.
Husbands?
This is going to get interesting.
I have to say though, I feel like if you were a very proficient mangaka, you could put all of that together into one really long manga title.
Oh,
Oh
That
my
would
god,
work,
no!
Or at least the
dear.
blurb, or at least get it all in the blurb.
at least all in the blurb.
Like,
But
I feel like that's the ultimate Mad Libs challenge. Can you get as many of these keywords as humanly possible in the blurb? Especially
And,
if
you
you
know, for
don't
those of
know
us
the premise.
who remember the libraries from Once Upon a Time, that is essentially what the little cards for books would say. Is you just go look up, you know, the keyword, and here's all the books that reference this type of, you know, key phrase.
Yes.
90s rock music.
How
I'm still so happy to hear all those references there.
Cinderella of the United Nations, Aeroace in Space.
Ooh, I like that.
I don't.
It's like, I know you would have my interest piqued as a reader of like, I would at least now need to read the blurb.
So here,
Okay.
I'll
Airways
start
in
posting some of
Space
the
might
titles.
work as a really good tagline though.
Yeah,
What?
Aeroace in Space.
Oh yeah, Aeroace in Space is me. It's me.
No, I'm just saying, yeah, but for the tagline though, for if that does actually cover the book, because when
Not
you're coming up
really.
with titles, a lot of your
Not
I know
really.
a lot of my rejected titles are log lines or taglines for the marketing of the book later.
The irony is that the fully blown Arrow Ace is not in space, it's on Earth. The space dude doesn't really. He's not. I'm not quoting. I mean, I know he's not straight, but he doesn't really know. He just doesn't care, so that doesn't count. So no.
And okay, so for those who are maybe washing dishes or can't look at the screen for whatever, maybe you're exercising or something, here is what Tom has already ahead of time played with. Deep space ghost hunting, TBR dreams of deadly space, ghost killing from orbit, deadly dreams in outer space dreams of death, young ghosts of deep space, sleeping death in deadly orbit. So CB asks, does this exercise work with key phrases instead of single words? Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm just saying, I would buy the last title on that list, Sight Unseen.
Sleeping Death in Deadly Orbit?
Yeah, if somebody told me that there was a book like that, I could not say shut up and take my money fast enough. Like,
okay, I'm gonna use that one.
Okay, so let's see. Tom's next list is Astral Escape Velocity, Space Station Ghost Farm, Ghostly Escape Velocity, Shadow Prison, Shadow Prisoners, Dual Death, Touching Andromeda.
Why Touching Andromeda though?
I like the cat that suddenly has shown up.
Because I don't entirely, because it's been a while and I couldn't remember where the planet was located that they astral project.
Oh,
and it's close enough to reference going to another place far out of the galaxy.
Oh,
and Andromeda isn't Andromeda the closest sun
closest
to us?
galaxy.
Andromeda is the galaxy that I keep joking about that I'm coming
galaxy.
from.
Yeah, like
that's
where
my joke. My joke has always been I'm from Andromeda. Like people ask me,
that'll be the first place when we as humans figure out intergalactic space travel. That is where we're all going, or at least
we got to get to Centauri first. That's the closest system.
Yeah. That's the closest system. But yeah, touching Andromeda is fun because that's the joke. I'm always joking, like, so Dal, where are you from? Like, you have an accent. Where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Andromeda. Like, I never say where. So the joke has always been Andromeda. So that kind of intrigued me. Like, why Andromeda? Why? Because it's my joke, or it's fun. I like these.
But again, I'm trying to combine these
paranormal, paranormal and sci-fi, which it's rough, and we're pioneering here because that doesn't have a bookshelf, apparently.
It has an audience, though.
Yes,
it does have an audience, but it doesn't have a bookshelf.
A lot of what I write fits into that category.
I need to read your stuff then, because please.
What about the conspiracy of ghostly space?
Interesting.
I mean, it would definitely give you a sense of that. Of like, yeah, I want to show
More
you
like a cabal of ghostly space.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's
I almost
one.
choked from that, Glory.
Oh, I'm always trying to get the points there. Okay, so next one, escaping buried Earth, broken dreams of another planet, buried in space, projecting dreams on another Earth, dreams from space, astro moth in the rocket's flame. I feel like that's very Silver Age sci-fi of you, Tom. That last
Yeah.
one.
That last one.
That very much felt like, does Heinlein and Asimov know? Does Arthur C. Clarke, is he aware?
Oh, that's a Paul Anderson story. That's a Paul Anderson. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. There's a few more.
Okay.
You can also go with like dreams out of space.
Right? Yeah.
I also agree with Cherry that touching Andromeda sounds.
That sounded naughty. Yeah. On a second thought, I didn't. Ace. I don't think of those things until people tell me, and then yeah.
All right, last set.
Okay.
How about dreaming of
Valkyrie?
Andromeda?
What is it? What'd you say?
Dreaming of Andromeda.
Ooh,
Yeah. That'd be a nice one.
All right. So last set, Valkyrie Orbit, Ghost Walking on Antares B, Astro Moth to the Rocket's Flame.
Ooh.
Oh my God. Okay.
So again, you're playing with these ideas, and that means, okay, so one of the things I wanted to bring up is okay, I don't want to say a cheat, but it is one of the ways that I look for inspiration when playing this game. Because again, as I said, the points don't matter. There's no cheating as long as, again, we can entertain everyone else playing the game. That's the point of the game originally, was just entertain. And so one of the things that I like to do is like literally look up, say, a Wikipedia article on Silver Age sci-fi titles.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like, that was the next one I wanted to talk about, was the just look at everyone else's, and then you start riffing on those titles.
Well, she could be the Antares meditation.
Yes, a good one. Of, because you're just
Question
trying to
though. Question though.
Concepts. Go ahead, Doll.
Valkyrie Orbit. Why?
Well, what is a Valkyrie but the angel of death come to reap?
Oh!
And he does it from orbit.
So I'm just going to post
they kill from orbit, so
for reference, because that is the beauty of having a smartphone when you're playing the game, is we can literally then look it up. Used to be we had to go cluster around the computer for this. So long ago, children. And we'd literally go to like what was it back in the day, B. Dalton Books or something, and go look at their list of classics of whatever genre we're talking about when we would play this game about books. Well, but like, it's not solely books. So for instance, if nothing came about of us riffing on the titles from science fiction novels, such as A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green, Adult Rights, Book 2 of Xenogenesis series by Octavia Butler, like, we would like literally, how could I like play this title and do like, so Alas Babylon, so Farewell Andromeda. Do you see what I mean? Of like, we're just literally riffing on titles by trying to twist some title that already exists and play around, and then sometimes somebody else will pick it up like a ball, and then they kind of riff for a little bit until we've all run out of ideas, and then we go to the next one, or we both are scanning on our own and then throwing out titles. So I just wanted to like point that out. This is also how we do it. We'll also do movie titles exactly the same way, whether we're doing it for a book or an article. We'll still look up. One of my favorites is to look up noir type film titles from the 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s, and play around. Oh, like, believe me, do you know how much I have milked the title 10 Angry Men? Including, I have won a Peeps diorama contest with a shoebox, and it was 10 Angry Peeps is what I titled it, and I won, y'all. And I made a tiny little knife out of aluminum foil and a broken off of a toothpick.
So there is 10 Angry Men, and there's also 12 Angry Men.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so those are two different things.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you have the Magnificent Seven, which also plays into the whole numbers game.
So again, like, Like you just it's so like I was making the whole contest was you had to make a diorama using peeps. That was the contest at the library. And so it was like, oh, I just need something that is easy to make in a shoebox. And I use peeps instead of people. Which, it's easy. But yeah, you can play around with it. Night at the Blue Peep. Why, yes, I did put a peep on a pole. Since it's about a strip club, the Blue Iguana. And we did play with ideas of the peep iguana. But anyway, that's a whole. We were like, turning that would be confusing. Also, I couldn't find a green peep. So they were all sold out at the time. And I'm only bringing that out to point out. Then we did a different one that was. I did one once that was. It was Seven, the movie, with peeps. I love dioramas. Y'all don't understand. I'm weird.
Well, I think as long as you're picking really looking for titles and stuff like the joke we made coming up with this one was talking about TBR titles in a TikTok world. And it was like because book talk has become this huge unexpected force in selling books and stuff. But then you go and you look at it and a lot of them have Sarah J. Maas syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so you look like she's a very popular erotic fiction fantasy writer. And yeah, I'm gonna call it the E word because yeah, her scenes.
They are not fade to black.
No, she comes up like the first one was Court of Thorns and Roses, which makes sense in your mind if you're like, you have to have things connect. But the next two were Mist and Fury and Wings and Ruin. Okay. I guess Wings and Ravens and Bring Ruin, I guess. And then
to be very sincere with you, just before you end, I was taking that formula of the thing of this and that and took it, but at least make some sense with my books. But
yeah.
probably I did it wrong.
But it's become so used that it's actually become a meme now. Mm-hmm. And you can find things on TikTok or Instagram or Twitter or Facebook even where it'll say, your favorite color, the last thing you ate, and your zodiac sign, and that is your thing of thing and thing. And a few years before that, it was the excellent adventure of Julia. Mm-hmm. And so then it was the adjective, noun of name. Mm-hmm. And that became a title that they were using a lot. And the minion is home.
Hello, minion.
Well, we got off.
So it's you have to be careful because like these are the titles. You want your book to be in a title genre to fit the genre titles going on at the time. But one, you don't want them to get lost with all of the similar titles. And two, you don't want someone to pick up your book thinking it was someone else's book and then bash you. Mm-hmm. So titling books is like, it's like naming your child. It's okay if you want to name your child Wicklow. That is a very classic Old English name. But you have to understand that when that child gets to kindergarten, they're going to call him Wiki.
How about all those girls in, what would they now be in, 3rd or 4th grade, named Daenerys?
Or Apple.
Yeah.
So many apples.
So many apples.
Mm-hmm.
And
like that is why I like using old movie and book titles for this, in part because it's now more of a cultural reference, if at all. Often younger people don't even recognize it as a reference, so they just think, oh, so original. But so like there is the title Bury Me at Wounded Knee. But if you have a novel of a similar setting, you could use Bury Me At and another location. But let's be honest, what if you're doing a space western? Bury Me at DS9. I'm obviously that's copyrighted, but bury me at the name of your space station. Bury me in the stars. You can like riff on that for quite a while.
Bury me in the sea of tranquility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bury me in the sea of tranquility.
Ashes across the supernovas. Or
Well,
nebulas.
Here's one that we often go off on is
the purple nebula, whatever whatever you've titled
Serenity and Firefly. Firefly was the classification of the spaceship, and Serenity was after Serenity Valley, which is where the last battle of the Civil War was lost. Mm-hmm. And if you say Firefly, Serenity, or Brown Coat, to almost anyone in this generation, they will know instantly what you are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't always have to have that grand descriptive title. How I Became a Crazy Cat Lady to Survive the Zombie Apocalypse. You can have a little single word title that can be just as meaningful, or a what is it? A preposition. The.
I think one-word titles though are very hard. I actually think one-word titles are super hard on the writer or whoever is determining the title,
it's
because
too hard because searchable.
It has to hit just right in this complicated Venn diagram of culture and meaning and what your book is about, but also your readership, and that they will recognize this word for the significance. It needs to have like one-word titles is like, well, that's how you kill me as a writer of like no.
I think one-word titles have their place though. Because
I'm not saying they don't, but it's just so hard for whoever is figuring it out. It's like
you want your title to have something about your book in it that's relatable. Like those of the older generation understand To Kill a Mockingbird was not a literal thing. And now we're in the meme generation. We're in the meme generation where everyone's like, there aren't any birds in this book. And, they're kind of joking about it, but they're also not joking about it. And it's just like, it's so having a title that's relatable, like try to think of
but
a
you
title.
Can also have single ones like Cinder.
Well, like if you're going indie, it is very important to think in terms of series, because that's the best way to get an audience to follow you along through, because they already know the characters, they already know that they like the characters, they want to keep going. For me, like when I was saying that single word titles have their purpose, we need to be careful not to do so many The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring.
Harry Potter and
because like with my epic fantasy series, the epic fantasy series is the Shadow Phoenix Saga. Each book in that series has a one-word title, because the Shadow Phoenix Saga carries a lot of the weight for this is a fantasy story. It's kind of not what you're thinking of, because it's a phoenix but shadowy. The phoenixes are fire and bright, right? So it carries a lot of the weight for that. But each of the books, from Rebirth to Ruin to it's just that one word that captures, and this is kind of what happens in this book. That way,
but again, we've got a series title that is very searchable. Because or on Maggie's one, Relic of Time and Prophecy, there's not really anything else you search in Google that has those words in that arrangement.
Exactly.
So you can name the individual books very simple things, because you've got that search handled. But again, that's for a series.
Mm-hmm.
You still need a very unique title for the series if you're going to then simplify. And that's really what Dune ended up doing is, everyone already knows the series. So then, you have titles in Dune of just, House Harkonnen, or in other references of these really simplified terms. Versus, God, Lord of the Rings. Talk about some grandiose titles.
Well, see, a lot of fantasy and sci-fi films have that very sing-songy, like, could you at least put it in the form of a haiku titling convention, where it's just because the name of the series is so long, because they want to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting, and so each book they also do that grandiose title to go with it. And I see this so much in the fantasy and sci-fi section, where, and just one other note, please stop naming your books Leviathan. Nobody cares
Oh,
anymore.
yeah.
That is so confusing.
Thank
There are
Like,
so many books.
why are there? And there's no space whales or anything. It's disappointing.
Just please stop. But it's just, finding that place where it also meets with the brand that you're putting forward. Because so much of marketing nowadays is that personal branding that we talked about before. And that's the industry.
By the way, Doll,
sorry.
I'll send you all the stuff
Thank
I
you.
wrote in case you want to use any of it.
Yeah, I'm going to be thinking about it because, like Charlie says, I have a trilogy title, like the main series thing, and then I have 3 books, and I have plans. So I have to see what fits where, and what could I change, what can I modify, and how. But these
And
are great stuff. Like,
But and it
wow,
does help just to hear other people's interpretation, and that's kind of what I was going for. Was just here's another way to look at it.
yeah, it makes sense. A lot of it makes a lot of them made me question, like, why Cinderella though, but I got it now. I understand why you thought of Cinderella. I get it now.
Yes,
But yeah, no spoilers. Abusive
because again, we're
feminist.
talking. Keywords are another form of what we now just think of in shorthand to mean. It's concepts.
Yeah, and then so I want to figure out the I want to do what Charlie was saying, because I want to figure out the main trilogy thing. So I have the trilogy title in place, and I am very careful about one word stuff, because Google searching stuff, and then each book, I don't know. I mean, the spider and moth thing for book 1, I want it to stay. Maybe I change it or tweak it a little bit, but the symbolism of the spider and the moth are very, very clear in book 1. And
Yeah.
I just wanted it to keep. I just wanted it there somewhere. So maybe the book title might stay, but
But
this.
it's also but you've also got all the marketing and stuff that you could also look at, because titles are another form of identification. Like, it can also give you an idea for what kind of images or what soundscapes go with this story that you want people to associate with it.
Yeah.
Well, the web of Antares would bring the spider and the space thing together.
Nia.
But my Leviathan book is going to be awesome. Nia.
Oh, I just bring that up because a friend of mine and I were having an argument about a book named Leviathan, and we were about 30 minutes in before we realized we were talking about different books.
Oh dear.
Named Leviathan, with way too similar plots that we didn't realize until somebody actually mentioned. I think it was him that mentioned a name of one of the characters. I was like, "Who is that?" I read the entire book. I don't remember this character at all. And that's when it started breaking down, and we realized, oh crap, these are different books.
I want to say real quick though to Cherry that sometimes that is an aesthetic. Case in point, that is the entire cover of 1Q84. That was so big about 7-8 years ago when it came out. It's a sci-fi.
Most book covers now are just the words anyway.
Bloodchild, yes.
I'm not a fan, but whatever. That's what we have now.
Again, these things go in cycles.
Yes, they do.
Sometimes
But the naming conventions go in cycles, and you never know when you're going to hit the next. You're going to be the first one on that next arc of the naming convention of like there's a series of books out right now that have the F word in literally the title of every
Mm-hmm.
single book. And
Oh,
you'll and you'll see them in Walmart, and they'll have a little piece of black like electric tape
Mm-hmm.
over the F word. And everyone knows what those books are. You don't have to
Is it
you can see
the
the tops and
nonfiction? You
bottoms.
mean?
Oh no, they're fiction.
Oh, because I mean the
There,
nonfiction ones are
there's
like the.
also
Oh, okay.
there's also the arse series, how to be a dumb arse and how to live with a dumb arse and how to look at a dumb arse and how to kick a dumb arse.
Mhm.
And that is an actual book series.
Oh gosh.
And it's just, and it's like you have to wonder how much of that title is just for the shock value of
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
that title.
Yeah, I
But it
know.
makes, but it
I know
stands
with
out.
the book, I mean, like, it's not really a children's book, but it is in children's book format. Go the F to Sleep. When
Oh
it came
yeah, that
out,
one.
you know, it was solid 5 years that everybody, it seemed like in library land, and everybody with a child felt the need to send me a picture of this title of, you know, Go the F to Sleep. Only it's not F, it's the word. But you know, monetization on YouTube requires us to keep it PG. And
Yes.
so, and it was like,
Didn't
yeah, I
Samuel
get
L.
it.
Jackson narrate that one?
Yes, he
Yep.
did.
Yes. And
We
it's
got
like,
the audiobook
I
for
gotta be honest, the book isn't actually that interesting as like, and I love children's books, so I'm a bit of a connoisseur, and I could see where they're trying to stand out among this world of children's books, but it's not anything special. The only thing special about it is, in fact, the title and concept of cursing in a children's book. There's nothing witty or clever about it, and the illustrations are just okay, which, you know, they're not terrible or anything. It's not like, here, I drew it with my left hand. You know,
Isn't that modern publishing though?
yeah, it is.
Like, I mean, that is the world.
I
that
was very disappointed because I thought Go the F to Sleep was actually going to be kind of fun and a very lovely sort of rhyming or poetry situation, and it was not. And I was very glad that I got to read it in a bookstore before I bought it because I was about to buy it.
The audiobook is very fun to listen to, though, because Samuel L. Jackson just hams it all. Like, he's like, I know what
It's
you're here for.
hysterical.
I know why you hired me.
But
You're
he's
gonna get
selling it rather than the books
Oh,
to
yeah.
sell
Oh, yeah.
itself.
I know you watch Snakes on a Plane.
Right. I know why you watch
Yeah.
Snakes on a Plane. And you watched it for Samuel L. Jackson saying the line everybody knows from all the trailers and all the memes.
But I mean, and another part to remember when you're coming up with titles, and you know, you see, like, you know, you get together with your friends and you come up with, you know, 100 titles.
Mm-hmm.
Another big usage for titles that people don't think about often is in advertising.
Mm-hmm.
These are short phrases that grab attention. So if you come up with a whole lot of titles, you can't, you know, you're like, I'm only writing 3 books. What am I going to do with the rest? You use these as part of your advertising as sort of the build-up phrases, the hype person, you know, in place of a hype person, you have these these phrases that show up before you show the book cover, and they grab the person's attention. They grab their imagination of, oh, these are the concepts that, you know, this book is about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another way to do it. Like, just like you see, like, we go through so many titles for every week's show, and I copy them all down. I actually, you know, I keep a copy of them so that later on I can use these in promotions, or when we later return to the subject, here's other aspects to remind us about.
Yep.
Of titles are, you know, one of the things that make writers very good at our job is we know how to speak to people.
When I was researching the book talk stuff, because you know, I can't stand TikTok. I would like to think my attention span is longer than a goldfish times 2. That's just me. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting about book talk is how there was a book that the title is literally called "They Both Die at the End." That book talk turned into a bestseller.
Isn't that the sequel to John Dies at the End?
I think so.
Okay.
And
I was about to say, wait, I know this because I've checked these books out to people.
And the literally it was 2017, and the book was called They Both Die at the End. And it's crazy how like
But this
it's
is where you need to ask
how
yourself what your model
titles,
is.
you know, how seriously do you want to take your title? And how, there's a thing going on right now in AuthorTube where a lot of authors are rebranding their books. It's the same book, nothing has changed. They have simply changed the title and the cover of the book, and then they're relaunching these books.
Mm-hmm. I'm not aware of this.
And it's, and they're actually, there are author tubers who are doing videos of, your book's been out 5 years, it's time to rebrand your book. And they're encouraging indie authors.
What author tube are you watching? Where are those things?
Book Talk is doing this. Like that's where the newest voice.
Book Talk,
where the young audience is.
And that's what they're telling the young writers, but it's drifting into AuthorTube on YouTube.
Like with all bad ideas, there's that one kernel of truth in there. Like, especially if you're indie, if your covers look out of date, you need to refresh them.
If your title is
where
a
couple years later
trend,
they give it a new cover, that is normal within publishing. If they're about to print, say, a second or third edition and it's been a hot minute, they'll slap on a new, more current title, current cover, I mean, and they'll publish it. It's got the same title or a slight variation. Because
my Anne McCaffrey books, I've got Dragon Singer with 5 different covers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's normal within publishing of every couple of years.
And rotating, but it is rotating the covers. I think is fine, getting a fresh cover or something. But they're actually advocating changing your cover, changing your title, and changing your blurb so it comes off. And they're calling it a fresh book. So they're not actually saying that you're reselling an old book as a new book. They're saying you're making it a fresh book. Because, and the example they cite is literally what happened with Book Talk, is the 30-year-old book. What was it called? Something lipstick. I have it in my notes.
Ice Planet Barbarians.
No, it was the impression of lipstick, or the lipstick on the after image. Was a book released in 1989, and because one of the Book Talk creators picked it up, this 30-year-old novel became a bestseller again and sold 100,000 copies in a few weeks.
Oh, by the way, Glory, They Both Die at the End is completely unrelated to John dies at the end. They Both Die at the End is a, own voices, really sad. It's hard being different.
Oh, okay.
So,
in so many
identities. So it's hard to get attached to titles. And like, how much work do you put into this if you are one of these authors that is going to change it in a few years? If you're going to redress your book, and
I think this is a problem that's going on in self-publishing right now, where the low effort self-publishing really became a thing for a couple of years there, until Amazon figured out what was going on and started slapping people down for it and just destroying people's KDP accounts, like with no remorse over all of that.
Well, there was the whole AuthorTube drama last year of the lady whose sister-in-law was literally releasing her own versions of her books with just the names changed. And there's been a couple KDP accounts that got pulled down completely because they were literally just posting the exact same book over and over and over, and changing the main character's name, the side character's name, and the location. They weren't changing the descriptions of the location,
because I complain about this a lot. There's this myth that has been promulgated for probably 20, 30 years really strongly that self-publishing is a get-rich-quick scheme. Like this is your path to quick fortune. And to keep that grift going, especially in an age where so many people are both indie published and have platforms where they're explaining their experience with indie publishing, they keep coming up with newer ways to grift people out of their money and new ways to sell these ideas that will be harmful down the line. We talked about this last week when we were talking about the black hat SEO tricks that are out there. They do work for a brief shimmering second, but they will destroy your website. They will take your videos down. They will end you in the industry when you get caught using them.
So what I will say, I'm sorry, go on. I didn't.
And I'm just saying we're not making a distinction between the commerce side and the like having some basic integrity as an author because you don't want to destroy your brand before you've built it.
Right.
And it's how much are you willing to sacrifice to hold on to that creative kernel?
Yeah.
How, and I don't want to use the term selling out because writing to market is a thing. A lot of people are doing it.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
And there's nothing wrong with
as
it.
long as what you're publishing is original and not plagiarized, or even you're not plagiarizing yourself either. I do love that second season of Westworld, actually. He had a very long philosophical conversation in the middle of the season of the second season of Westworld about plagiarizing oneself. So it's super fun, entertaining way to see that philosophical conversation. But what I did want to say is I have seen a few times where a title is changed in traditional publishing. And what they do to avoid I got tricked into buying another copy of the same book, and for legal reasons, what they normally do is, number one, you need to have a good reason. So often it's because originally it was published as a standalone novel, and then 10, 20, even 30 years later, the author's like, I've got idea for 2 more, i.e. it's called, I need to pay for my kids' orthodontia. So now we've got a series title, and now the series title and the naming convention for the next 2 books in the series no longer fit with the original title. So they need to rework the original title to fit this naming convention. And what they do traditionally, so again, I'm just like trying to offer this up as this is what I've seen as a librarian, is they'll have the series title somewhere in, smaller print on the cover. They'll have in big print the new rework title, and somewhere either right under the new big rework title or at the bottom of the front cover will be some reference to the original title.
Yeah.
And that this is a, second edition. And that is how they work it. So again, it's not, people can't just say, gotcha, you're just trying to resell the same thing as a different book, when in fact it's sort of the same book.
I think this is the case that happened with Philip Pullman's his Dark Materials trilogy, because the original title of the first book was The Northern Lights, which that's how I found this awesome material. That's how I found it, because I was looking for videos of the Northern Lights to fall asleep. And there was one that didn't have any thumbnail, and it was like 10 hours long or something. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to fall asleep to this. And it turned out to be Philip Pullman's The Northern Lights instead of just, that's what happened. No, literally, that's what happened to me.
I'll fall asleep to this.
But often on the back blurb, in italics, on top of the blurb, will be originally published as this title in bold. And then it'll be a reworked blurb too, because look, if you're doing a new cover, you're going to have it as a series now. You got to change the blurb, because the blurb does need to reference that this is a book series now rather than a standalone. So people know, hey, buckle in. This is going to be a ride.
Yeah.
So you do need to do a new book blurb.
And we know this most famously from, originally titled The Star Wars.
Right.
That once it got picked up for, a second movie, they had to then change it to just Star Wars, remove the D, put a colon. Here's the new title for this first movie.
Right. And so also I've seen the other way I've seen in traditionally publishing how they do this is if they're going to say combine two smaller books like novellas together, even three in an omnibus. So now it needs a new title and of course a new blurb. So of course we need a new cover. And again, there'll be a reference usually on the front cover, although to be perfectly honest, a few times I've not seen it on the front cover. I've only seen it on the back cover on the blurb where there's a reference to which titles of these novellas are held within the book. So that is the other way I've seen. Thank you. There we go.
This is 3 books in one.
And
so they call it the trilogy.
Right? And that's the other way that I've seen traditional publishing get away with this little move without it being a fraud.
Yeah. This series is amazing. Go read it.
I love getting an omnibus. I love getting more than one book in a book.
That is how I got into Harry Harrison's Stainless Steel Rat. I did not realize when I picked it up it was actually an omnibus, but I was very pleasantly surprised because I loved the first book in my big paperback, my enormous paperback. And it was like, yay, I don't have to go hunt for these other books. Oh, the first 3 are in here, and I loved it. And really, the first 3 truly do belong together, and then the next 9 are just, they're all over the place. And it's like they were not all written by the same person. I said it. So, but still, I love the first 3 of the Stainless Steel Rat series. So again, I've seen it that way in traditional publishing, and everybody seems to feel like this is kosher. But I wanted to just put that out there of this is how to do it that apparently satisfies a lot of lawyers as well as a lot of readers. Readers are used to it. Whatever readers are used to, they will be okay with you doing. But if you do stuff that readers are not used to doing, be prepared for grumbles at the very least. It's just how readers are. They like what they've already had. They don't like something completely new. They like something somewhat new.
And for anybody who has access to a Mac computer or a Mac clone, they just added the ability in Vellum to do really nice box sets. Mm-hmm. So you can actually import your previous made books in there. It formats them really nicely. It does really good stuff for the table of contents so that they're really easily navigable in Kindle and EPUB form. I'm so happy it's finally in there.
And like look at Carrie. Definitely wants to do an omnibus, with her contemporary fantasy series, and they're all novellas. They would fit really nicely together.
So, I think it's like still as a writer, one needs integrity, at least in your relationship with your readers. No matter what some latest newfangled shiny person on, some platform is saying, hey, do this and be rich. If it is not done with integrity, be suspicious at the very least. Do further research, talk to other colleagues, and see what they think of as far as industry level, or if they have more to give. Because they may be able to tell you, oh, well, there's already a lawsuit about this. Have you heard about it? It's in the paper, da-da-da. They may go, that sounds like a great idea. Yeah, you should totally get a new cover from the person you already like their other covers that they did for your other, da-da-da, whatever. But definitely, or if you happen to be so lucky that you've got some super fan readers already, definitely see what they think. They will absolutely love it that you want to hear their opinion about how you are trying to repackage it to gain more readers, because every super reader wants more readers to talk to about what they love to read.
And so I landed here for some reason.
Yeah. So, and on that note, how about we take another bio break? May I suggest, how is your drinking levels? Do you have something to drink? Is it getting low? Do you have a snack? Water. Now might be a lovely time to visit your bladder and say, how you doing, baby? And maybe a little walkie walk, a little play with the puppy wuppy. Hello, Muppet, my sweet Muppet.
Hello, Roy boy. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy, Roy?
Oh, Roy, hello.
Even when Roy is a bad boy, Roy is a good boy.
He's a
Look
good
at
boy.
that dirty beard.
Oh,
You
that
need a
nose.
bath so bad, dude.
Oh, you're so cute. You're so smelly and cute.
Baby. So
He
on
doesn't
that
smell
note,
so bad. It's just his beard is so dirty.
yeah, because he had an orange beard a few days ago.
Yes, it did.
So on that note, how about we take a little 10-minute break, and when we come back, more of this, possibly more chaotic. I don't know, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Meepity beep. Meepity beep. Meepity beep. Wonderful words. Okay.
That was the perfect timing for me. I don't know how, but I just calculated the 10 minutes and came back right when it was like three, two, what. I
Nice.
was like, whoa, okay.
Um, before we go on to our next game, and we really, it's like, yes, let's have fun actually playing these games to show you some examples. I did also just think of, since Megan is not here this week to reference it, I'm sure she would have brought it up otherwise. Because she was mentioning to us last week or the week before, but a Twitter feed called Editing the Gray Lady, which shows you all the changes the New York Times makes to the titles of their articles. And it shows you just how much they're doing A/B testing and seeing like what is it that is interesting people more, and how I just saw one that was almost entirely, they just kept the participle. Okay, they changed everything in this title except I think the word of.
Wow.
Of just look, it's not a science. You are trying to understand the current views of your audience and how they are interacting with things. So, oh, hello, little panther. So you are working on what is it that gets your audience's attention for that type of thought. But I did post the link if you're curious to see it.
Well, and another thing is if you okay, so you post something and you have like on Google, on YouTube, on Twitter, and then you change the title of it. Sometimes the title will change across the platforms without you changing them. They will the metadata for like a site link shared will shift because the links and that metadata are it's, I hate to say it's a living thing, but it's almost to that point where it's you make a Twitter post or an Instagram post and you put the link in, and then you change something on the other side of that. That link still leads to the same thing, and these sites will, every time you refresh that page, you get the latest view of that link. And so it's almost Orwellian the way they're controlling the naming conventions and the information that is being dispersed now.
I was looking through one of the sets of titles Glory posted the Wikipedia's too. And, I saw 1984, and it's like, where is the "we're not paying copyright" title 1985? What happened next?
That is surprising that doesn't exist. I never thought about it until you just said that.
Although maybe you
I
can't
have thought
copyright
about
a year.
See, doll, it's just you're ahead of the curve.
Yes.
And that is your great difficulty in life. You're just going to have to accept that you have time to re-edit a lot before your audience is ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, I my biggest flaw, and I admit it, and I am open about, is I first of all, I wear the foreigner cape, like I'm in another country. I've always been in another country. I have no chance of knowing what's happening in the States, even if I have internet. I'm not there. It's not the same. Algorithms are never going to be the same. And I am very isolated. So, like, visually speaking, I don't watch movies, I don't watch TV, I watch YouTube, but it's mostly learning tutorials and that kind of stuff. So I'm just learning things. I'm not really doing pop culture I don't. So I am very isolated, and that is a flaw. And well, that's why I come up with things that make no sense to people, I guess.
But it's often you are coming with ideas that are ahead of the curve that people just haven't been thinking about yet.
Oh.
Like
the zeitgeist of culture hasn't caught up with you yet.
because another example Gloria and I noticed years ago, so far back, was if you want to know where visual arts are going, and I know this is not kosher really to say right now, but it was at the time, was go look at what Russian photography was doing, and you'll see that in another 8 to 10 years in Western, because that's how long it would take to kind of disperse through a lot of mediators.
As well as like what are the techniques Russian photographers are using that people aren't really going to be talking about it in English language forums for another, 4 to 8 years. However, thankfully, many Russian artists actually are relatively fluent in English, so we literally just message them on their websites or live journal and ask, "How did you take this picture? Please tell me in English." And they're like, "No problem." Da da da. Because there was amazing innovations being done in photography coming out of the Eastern Bloc. Like, I don't want to say just Russia, because it was also Czech Republic and Ukraine and like the whole Eastern Bloc. But we were just like, holy cow, look at this art.
Hungary.
This is freaking amazing. Yeah. And it's the pictures I could read, but I have no idea what they're saying because this was before you could have web pages translated. Through extensions on your browser. And we're just like, let me just message in English. Maybe somebody will be able to read it and they could like respond. Please just tell me, essentially, please tell me your lens, how you did this or whatever. Tell me your magic. And because most artists are pretty open about this is how I did it. And you can do it too. Now send me a picture of you trying so I can critique you, like.
But
so I can make sure you're doing it right. I mean,
But if you look at Eastern Bloc movies, well, former Eastern Bloc of the early 2000s, you will then see Marvel imitating a lot of that a decade later.
Oh yeah, like imitating is a nice word.
Yeah.
Stealing, yes, that is more appropriate word. Like literally the pose, the composition, just full out stealing their movie posters. Yes.
This happened in music too.
Yeah. Has anyone here ever seen the movie called The Inner Circle? It came out in the very early 90s. It was about Stalin's film projectionist. The coloring and the graphic, the blocking and the color tones and everything. Literally, the one thing that when you compare from then to now, that you look at what we were talking about earlier, the Batman movie.
Yes.
If you look at The Inner Circle, which was done, oh goodness, Charlie and I were in our early 20s then.
Dinosaurs walked the earth.
Yeah.
There was no internet. Cell phones were too expensive.
Cell phones were the size of a brick.
I was born.
There was no texting.
Back in the before time.
Back in the before times.
I checked. 1991, directed by Andrei Konchalovsky. Something like that.
I was one.
That
I was
sounds
alive.
That sounds right.
Laura.
But the
wait, 1991?
Yeah, 1991.
Yeah.
And that was my birth year. I was a Google Dada.
Young people.
I was in college.
Here's my cane at.
I was in middle school. I'll admit it.
I was in college and club dancing in cages.
I had just been given a trombone, and my life would never be the same again.
Oh, how many people can say that?
Not that many, unfortunately. Yes, the before times, Nia.
The before times, but it's. I don't. When you go back. Okay, let's go. We're talking book titles. Let's go back to. Well, I'm a huge Anne McCaffrey fan, so you go back on that. All of her titles from the late 60s into the 70s and 80s were 1 and 2 word titles.
Mm-hmm.
They were the person and the thing that was most important to the person.
Yes.
And the Dragon Singer, Dragon Song, Dragon Drums, Crystal Singer.
That's how I picked up the book.
The Crystal Line
was Dragon Song. I never thought of dragons as singing,
and
I'm very interested.
And you look at just all of the science fiction from that time had these very specific titles. Ben Bova's Exit Earth.
Mm-hmm.
The Chronicles of Thomas Covenant was the series, but then you had The Unbeliever, The White Gold Wielder, the what was the other one? I can't remember the other one now. But you had these very, very pointed reference, almost point of a spear reference on the titles. And then we went through this phase, starting in the 1990s, The Unbearable Lightness of Being, The Joy Luck Club, Eat, Pray, Love. And you went from these very directed titles to these very broad, very ambiguous, nebulous titles.
The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Oh God!
It's like,
if only
that,
could get washed.
That one came later toward the end, where you started having these very sentency
because it was like the Yaya Sisterhood. I think the book was The Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood or something.
4 Weddings and a Funeral.
These longer titles.
And you started having
A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet.
Yes.
My God, I've never seen such a long title in my life, and then I picked up that
The
book
Yowl of the Zuni Cat.
Yeah.
So we're on this arc where we keep going up and we're going down, and now we're coming back out of that arc, which I know I keep coming back to Sarah J. Maas, but it's just the one that is in my head of the blank
A Song of Ice and Fire.
Something of something.
Yes.
And it's
the Cruel Prince, the Blood Queen.
Right? So if there's any more blood queens, like even I was like working as an active librarian, it was like no more queen and blood in the same title. I cannot keep up.
What was that a few years ago that the one romance writer wrote a book, and this other writer tried to sue her because the books had very similar something.
Are you talking about Cockygate?
No, it wasn't Cockygate. Cockygate was just someone who didn't understand you can't
trademark a single word.
Trademark a 16th century word just because of the font that you don't have permission to use in.
Some people.
Sorry.
Was it the one where it was the sister-in-law that was doing it?
No. Oh. I'm trying to think of what it was. Now I've lost my train of thought.
There's so many. Anyway.
But I don't even know now.
What I was thinking of, because Tom and I actually talked about it during the break, it is so convenient to have somebody that, you're live streaming with literally a hallway away. To just go, hey there. Like we're in an office. Hey there. What do you think of this?
Something Bones and Blood.
Oh, yeah.
The Bones and Blood one.
It's called Marrow. Anyway, no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I'm
not a snarky librarian.
I'm
a totally fine professional one.
The Ashes of Glory Sanity. It's called the Pink Notebook.
I feel called out, but also seen. So thank you.
It's called the Pink Notebook, and you haven't sent it to me yet.
Oh, that reminds me. I need to release another story. Okay, so anyway.
Yeah, I think that's it. Cherry.
Yes, Children of Bone and Blood. Okay. Any more Bone and Blood? Damn book. Okay, it's fine. I used to make a display in the YA section and just put them all together, and I labeled it "Pick One." That's what I did.
Well, you also had a display was the cover is red, and you had a table full of red books.
I did do that. Yes.
Books that bleed.
Books that are red. Naked guy on the cover.
Yes.
See, that's another thing that people need to realize about titles.
Another branch did that one. And they requested RLR books. Every branch had to go pull all the books with scantily clad men and then ship them to the one branch so they could have an enormous display of 200 covers. Y'all, 176 checked out. So, good step.
Well, see,
here's how thirsty that branch was. Anyway,
here's the thing, though. Okay, so the fact that people will go, I don't know, but the cover was red. I don't know, but there was a naked guy with a cowboy hat on. I don't know, but there was a girl and she had like magic or fire behind her. The fact that people remember the story, even if they don't necessarily remember the title, should be encouraging to authors. Because I've had someone ask me, what was that book they made a movie, where people were memorizing books because they were burning all the books? And I was like,
you've not narrowed that down.
Fahrenheit 451?
Do you know how many books?
They're really famous. Yeah. And I'm like, I said, it's the temperature paper burns. And they're like, yeah, that. And I'm like, no, that's the name of the book. But so if you don't settle on the perfect title, don't be disheartened, because people will remember the story.
Yes.
And now, because of Google, if you can remember a few lines from the story, you can type it in and find it.
It's true.
Some book titles are just super evocative. Clown in a cornfield. Like, how much more do you need to know about this YA slasher?
Like are they giving Stephen King some credit?
That's not Stephen King. That's Adam Cesare.
No, I know that. That's what I said. Are they giving Stephen King credit for making this a genre?
Children of the Corn.
All right, so I was thinking for to play a first round of the game, I thought we would go easy. Okay? And by easy, yes, Tom and I discussed, we thought, hey, how about if we start with a very easy set of titles to riff on, just so everybody can see us play this out, and everybody can jump in. They're Hardy book titles. I put the link in private chat. I put the link in the comments. But don't worry, even if you can't pull it up, these titles are so obvious.
The alien factor.
Because, I figured, hey, nobody here is primarily writing mysteries. Their primary genre is a little bit different. And so everybody could just kind of have fun and be silly. Also, the Hardy Boys titles are 100 years old. So again, we're culturally very familiar. Yes, Charlie's dying over here.
Oh, I'm just saying Chuck Tingle has ruined me.
Oh, I agree.
I'm just looking at these titles, and
look. So
the first
I had
images
actually
that come to mind.
Wikipedia was like, I'm not going to give you a list of murder mystery titles. I'm not going to give you a list of crime novel titles. So it's either this or we go through all of the episode titles of Murder, She Wrote to play this game. I figured we do that for the second round of a medium level complication. Since theirs are derivative of mystery titles as well. So that's my second round. But here we are with Hardy Boys. So if you scroll down, if you pulled it up, just in case you have pulled it up, you scroll down to pages and category, and you see the Hardy Boys books. And yes, there's the Alien Factor. There's $1 Billion Ransom, Caribbean Cruise Caper, The Secret Panel, The Secret of the Lost Tunnel. You started to see conventions here. Hits and Misses, The Hooded Hawk Mystery,
Day of the Dinosaur,
The Tower Treasure, The Mystery of the Aztec Warrior, The Mummy Case, The Mysterious Caravan, The Dangerous Transmission. Seriously, y'all, what is going on with the transmission?
The Mystery of the Spinal Bridge.
Danger on Vampire Trail. Why is it called that? Anyway, The Firebird Rocket, Past and Present Danger, While the Clock Ticked.
Okay.
Witchmaster's Key.
Okay, I'm going to read just the second part of 3 of them, and
go for it.
The Castle Conundrum, The Embers, The Broken Blade, The Hissing Serpent, The Screeching Owl. Those are romance novel titles.
See, you can.
Those are
totally,
historical romance.
yeah, you
Excuse
can
me,
get
what?
genre in title and have a really wonderful time. And that's why I wanted y'all to see, like 100 years ago, this was Hardy Boys, because that's how old Hardy Boys is. And that, look, this sold books. So, okay. Well, look
look,
and
Cherry's already got one.
Okay.
Hide and
Shriek. I love it. The Viking symbol mystery. Could we not call it a rune? Okay. The mystery of the samurai sword. Dead on target.
I already misread 2 titles, or what's it called when you construe 2 titles together?
Oh yeah, what is that word when you do a mishmash? There's actually like an English language word for that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And so I already thought of a great title.
Yes, half the titles are Nancy Drew titles, Maggie. I agree.
There's the.
Want me to pull up a list of Nancy Drew titles?
The Crimson Flame, and I missaw the above it, Crime in the Kennel, and in my head it became the Crimson Flannel Sheets.
Oh dear. What? Again, like, we're just playing a game, y'all. We're just having fun being silly. So just let it rip.
I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure in the 90s.
Are you thinking of Malifaux, Tom?
Yes, Malaprops.
Malaprops.
I'm pretty sure in the 90s I read a book called The Mystery of the Whale Tattoo that had nothing to do with the Hardy Boys.
Death by Whale Tail.
Oh dear.
A street racing murder mystery.
Oh dear.
Death by Whale Tail was my brain in high school. Oh my gosh. Everywhere you look.
Oh, I know. There were so many.
The classic. The Freudian slip.
What is it?
The Freudian slip.
All the secrets.
Yes, there's the Nancy Drew books if you want to play around with Nancy Drew titles too.
The P titles all sound like something from
These sound like Harlequin romances.
Danger. Oh yeah, I'll read that. There better be a scantily
Past
clad
and
man on that
Present
cover.
Danger, the Pentagon Spy, the Phantom Freighter.
I'm here for these.
These sound like Jack Ryan mysteries.
Oh, or how about Running on
really
Empty?
Do.
That sounds like a Jack Ryan mystery. Is Running on Empty? Like, I'm ready to are they going to jump a train? I need this.
And the T's are middle grade mysteries. The Tic Tac Terror, the Tower Treasure, Track of the Zombie, Trading for Trouble, Trouble Times 2,
Trapped
the Twisted Claw.
Yeah,
those are all middle grade mysteries.
And so and that's what I mean of we just ripped the mystery of Kitty's maw. You just play around. How about the Nancy Drew Passport to Larkspur Lane, the Phantom of Pine Hill, no strings attached. Oh, Nancy, where are you going with it? Race
I'm
Against
too broken
Time.
of a human being for this part of the game.
Remastered Secret.
Right, I've been staring at that one. I'm just I might have to get this book. I might have to.
Right. Okay. Well, by the way, a bunch of these are possibly available on archive.org because I used to have a patron who was trying to get copies of all the original Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys books before they were edited in the 60s through the 80s. And so I found that some of these had actually been scanned in and put on archive.org because some of them are out of copyright. So you may be able to find them. So y'all just check that, or the Gutenberg Press even. I just want to point out, don't pay for it. Just check on there and read the ebook version.
And you also see how when you look at these titles and then you rework them into your own. So the Vanishing Thief, I can definitely see becomes the Vanishing Thieves tools. They also become writing prompts of what is the story behind this kind of title?
Mm-hmm.
The Witchmaster's Hole.
Whispers in the Fog. How about Whispers in Space? Whispers at Sea. Whispers on the Lake. You could literally just put it anywhere. Whispers in the Rain. How about Screaming in the Rain? Screaming in Hail. I don't know. All sorts of you just literally play with these. The Double Jinx mystery.
Snowfall Screams.
Ooh, I like that. That sounds so beautiful and terrible. Let's see.
Yes, but snow. What about the whisper of snowflakes?
Ooh.
Because the sound of snow falling will eventually drive someone crazy just because of the sound.
Is that, I find it very relaxing, but I guess that's because I've never worried about dying in snow. Oh dear, I'm not saying that out loud, but good luck.
The Coachmaster's mole.
I
Okay.
love the sound of snow.
Oh, yeah, that's not what I saw at
Yeah,
all.
no, that's
Thank
why I
you.
was saying I'm not
Thank
saying
you,
it out
Tom.
loud,
Thank
Tom.
you.
I think I did.
All y'all. Versus like I've been thinking of, whispers, and it's like, whispers at Lighthouse Rock. Like again, if
Whispers at Space Station B.
Okay.
The Infinity Cat.
Well, they have Mystery of Cabin Island and Mystery of Smuggler's Cove, so that could easily be the Smuggler's Cabin Cove mystery. Or that would be a cozy.
Mm.
And that'd be a cozy romance.
Smuggler's Cabin in the Cove.
The Haunted Escape Pod.
Ooh, they have Night of the Werewolf. That's shifter fiction. And about 20 different shifter fictions that I know of with that literal name.
The
the
Sky
Melting
Phantom
Chums.
could be the Sky Phantasm.
The Shattered Helmet. The Sign of the Crooked Arrow.
Oh God, remember when the Sign of
Yes.
was the title du jour?
Did that come from Sherlock Holmes titles or what?
Oh no, it
The
was even before
Flickering-
Sherlock. It was just around the same time.
Yeah, it's older.
The Flickering Firebird. The Torch Rocket Mystery. Footprints of a Four-Headed Dragon.
Oh, there's a series I would read, or at least a book. Half-Hearted Villains Company.
That would be a
game
good
called-
series name, actually.
Yeah.
That would be a good series name, and then, essentially each one is a different half-hearted villain member. And they're-
Half-Hearted Villains Company, Maury's Conundrum.
Maury's
How about game plan instead of game plan for disaster? In that one, you could have game plan for, I don't know, disheartening. The disheartened game plan.
The dejected game plan.
Instead of a game called Chaos, a game called
Misery.
A game called Boredom.
A game called I can't say any of the thoughts that are going through my head because I don't want to get Glory demonetized.
Sounds like a good game.
I feel like that's the game that we're playing right now because
Charlie, apparently you could type anything in the chat.
A
Because,
game
like,
called
going
Lost
by
and
the
Found.
words that are printed there, apparently that is okay. So, because, like, hey.
Here's a children's book. The Twisted Claw and the Yellow Feather Mystery.
Ooh.
Oh, you're right. That is a
And
nice
Twisted-
kid's book.
Twisted Claw could be a cat detective.
How about
Cat books are very popular.
The Sting of the
Cat-adjacent
Griffin?
books.
Instead of, because they have the Sting of the Scorpion. So, like, really, it could be the Sting of anything. So, if you're writing a fantasy, the Sting of the Griffin.
Or the Chimera.
The Chimera.
Yeah.
The Mosquito.
The bite of Chimera.
Oh my god.
Which part of the Chimera bit you? The lion, the snake, or the goat?
All
The
three.
goat, of course.
The goat. The goat is
That-
the sassy one.
Why does that sound like a Narnia parody title?
I so want to write a Narnia parody book now.
Charlie,
The
you have
lion, the
41
snake, and the
projects.
goat.
You have
The
40
Chronicles of the
40
Chimera.
This is what I have to say about plot buddies. You go ahead and write them down so you can move on and then come back when you got no plot buddies.
The
I have
Infinity
so many
Solution.
plot bunnies from this episode. You have no idea.
You're just going to
I-
rewatch them to write them all down.
Nope. I have a whole.
Well, I
I have
mean,
a
Charlie,
whole notebook of plot bunnies.
it was for the Christians, wasn't it Easter
Yep.
yesterday?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
like, yeah, bunnies.
Yep, the Wailing
There you go.
Sirens mystery, the
See,
Wailing
this
Mistress mystery.
this could be like 18th century
Mhm.
historical mystery.
Oh yeah, like
yeah.
a gothic mystery. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
because
the
that was used to
Wailing
be my jam when I was a teenager. Was like,
and
is it a
and
gothic
I've
novel?
already got a subtitle.
What
The
you got?
getting
last
lost on
sob.
the moors.
The what is it?
The last sob.
Oh god, it's so overly melodramatic.
Isn't that the genre though?
Yes, it
The
is.
star could
God,
be moaning
stop calling
mortals.
me out, buddy.
Sobbing in the arms of my lost lover.
Oh god, yes, I would have checked out every one of these.
The
Of like,
weeping
yes, it's
tree
on
of the
here.
moors.
Yeah, I would have checked that out too. I would have expected a little bit more fantasy in it though, or
But like in
medical
like
thriller.
somewhere, Gloria and I
Paranormal
played this
horror.
before,
Weeping tree of the moors. Paranormal horror.
I'd check
and
it.
Gloria and I have like 50 different titles of story ideas. Where I made the forbidden title.
Yep. One day I will find it. The book doesn't want to be found right now, so it's fine.
And and they give you ideas of what they can act as writing prompts.
Mm-hmm.
They can act as scene prompts. Like one of
Yes.
the things I realized, just working on this simple little romance I'm writing, is I'm definitely, depends on your point of view about how much of a plotter, because I like to write scenes to a writing prompt. So, but they are two different parts of my brain. I cannot create writing prompts for a scene and then write the scene. I cannot write scenes and create writing prompts. So I do them as separate tasks because they use different parts of my brain. And so again, it's a great idea to go have fun with creating these titles, write them down, keep them somewhere, and then when you're in a writing mood and you just want to write out a scene, look through your titles and suddenly you'll find so many prompts and you'll then have an idea of where to put them.
How dare Cherry put the name of my autobiography in I mean,
Entirely done from the perspective of someone in an armchair.
Mm-hmm.
You're not in the woods. You're not in a desert. You're not stuck in a cave. No, from in your home on your armchair. The lack of will to survive.
So, can I give the 5 titles I've come up with for my middle grade series?
Go for it.
So, I have a lot of these are like double entendre. So, I have Seeds of Doubt, Cracks of Fear, and then just straight up Glint of Teeth. March of Specters, because, ghost ants. And then Web of Nightmares, because spiders.
Oh, wait. Can I steal that one?
Yeah, go for it.
I was thinking of the how I put this. I have a slight addition to make to one of your titles that I think to perk it up more. Pavement Cracks of Fear.
But it's not. It's cracks on the gargoyle.
Mm.
Yeah.
I like that Web of Nightmares one. I'm stealing that.
Go for it. I still
like
still
a
need
professional
a title for necromancy snails, like trails of something.
I've got I've got a great middle grade paranormal fantasy adventure. The Four-Headed Puppy.
That's top.
That sounds weird.
Cherry's got Concrete Cracks of Fear. So if you'd like, we could move on to, let's see, I've got a list of Murder, She Wrote episodes. I also, let's see, I have a list of crime novels. It's not as long, but there are some goodies in there, as well as a list of film noir, since most film noir were also mysteries. There is usually a mystery or of some level, because that's often what moves the plot forward. Is why would anybody care to kill me? Well, it's because there's something you don't know that's a mystery. You know?
I got a skedaddle.
Okay.
But yeah.
Bye, Laura.
Bye, Laura.
Bye.
Bye.
So
Bye,
does
Laura.
anybody have a preference what we look at next?
Not especially, but all of a sudden I just want to make some bad riffs on Murder, She Wrote.
Then we shall Murder, She Wrote this.
Smoking the concrete crack.
All right. And then I shall also...
Trails of the Dead. There's so many different genres that could be.
So let's see. With Murder, She Wrote, Murder of a Jazz Beat, Capital Offense, Death Casts a Spell. Death Takes a Curtain Call. We're Off to Kill the Wizard. So you start seeing they play with this game too. Hit, Run, and Homicide. Lovers and Other Killers. Deadly Lady. Hooray for Homicide. As in, that was wasn't that an older movie title? Hooray for something.
Hooray for Hollywood.
Like it was a musical. Yeah, Hooray for Hollywood. Thank you. Yeah. Paint Me a Murder, Mr. Johnny. My Johnny Lies Over the Ocean. Excuse me. Tough Guys Don't Die, Sudden Death, Footnote to Murder. Murder at the Oasis, Funeral at 50 Mile. Joshua
Sombrero
died here,
at 50
possibly.
Mile. Sombrero at 50 Mile Cantina would be a middle-aged finding themselves follow-up to Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
With a Mexican protagonist.
How about School for Scandalous Ladies?
Ooh, yeah. Let's see. Murder in the Afternoon, Sing a Song of Murder.
Murder in the Afternoon. That was an Agatha Christie.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Jessica Behind Bars. That was actually one of my favorite episodes. Murder Digs Deep. Murder by Appointment Only. Keep the Home Fries Burning.
Murder to a Jazz Beat. I mean, I love that.
That sounds like a Hulda short story from my protagonist from Danger.
Like you just sort of play with these, and Murder, She Wrote was already playing with these conventions already. And I think in the same season as what was it? Joshua Peabody Died Here, possibly. There is in the same season, Christopher Bundy died on Sunday. Why do y'all keep letting us know who died? What is this?
Okay, this is the most inappropriate Goodreads list ever. Best chick lit I've ever read, 1,444 books.
That is a lot of books.
That is not the best of. That is not a best list.
Could be Don't Weep for Me, Widow. Yeah, I like that.
I shared a link, Tom.
Uh-oh.
Actually, I showed 3.
Yeah, I saw there's the Zane one.
Zane Grey and Louis L'Amour have some very interesting titles that are very good to pull from. They had amazing titles considered that their books were so formulaic.
Mm-hmm.
And then I shared a link for 100 top chiclets. Sorry, the minion's asking questions.
I mean, but you really see with Murder, She Wrote how they are playing this exact same game.
They're playing the exact same game. This is not a new game. This is a game as old as time.
Corned beef and carnage.
Is it a tale as old as song?
Now, I will say if playing with book titles isn't your jam, one that we also used to do was we would pick song titles. Like if we wanted to do something, more rural, we might pick from country western song titles and then riff on those versus, rock or heavy metal titles or pop titles even. Especially the late 90s, early 2000s pop titles were kind of creative.
And all of a sudden, I'm looking at Nightwish discography like there's no tomorrow.
There was a chick lit book called "Bitter is the New Black." I
Wow.
want to read that. I don't even care. I
Yeah.
hate that genre, but I want to read it now just because "Bitter is the New Black." I love that.
By the way, Cherry, my mother bought Good in Bed by Jennifer Weiner and
What's the title?
insisted I read it. And this was in the mid 2000s or whatever. Yeah, I frankly, the best part about that book was the title, in my opinion. And I told my mother that.
But it shows you
Sometimes
that power of titles to draw you in.
But yeah, look, just pull Shopaholic Ties the Knot. You could be Astronaut Ties the Knot. Or Elf Ties the Knot. You just, the Griffin ties the knot even. You can just
Divas of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Getting rid of Matthew.
Instead of the Nanny Diaries, the Nanny Undercover.
Let's see. So there's Accidental IT Girl. How about the Accidental Witch Girl? Or the Accidental Astronaut? Or, the Accidental Captain? Honestly, the Accidental Spellcaster. Sounds like a Christopher Stasheff novel if there ever was one.
Oh no, I've got the other opposite end.
Okay, which
instead of Where Rainbows End, Where Rainbows Come to Die.
Oh God.
Okay, Nightwish is
I
not
can't tell if that's more Charlie or Maggie. But I know
we have the name of our collab novel.
What is that you both write in? What is it, like optimistic nihilism or something? I can't remember. What is it called?
Punk.
Oh, Punk. Thank you.
Oh, Punk.
Yeah,
the
it does
Journal of
actually
Mortifying
a little bit like the
Moments
Punk
could be-
title.
Nightwish is not helping me find a title for my thing because most of the songs is like one word shit. And
Well, see, I get a lot of my book titles are inspired from song lyrics, not necessarily the title. There will be a line from a song, often one that I misheard. Because the Blinded Angels series, that title actually came from me mishearing Ronnie James Dio say the word bloodied angels. Because he was saying bloodied angels, fast ascending for probably 10, 15 years before I actually found a copy of the lyrics because there was an internet. I thought he was saying blinded angels and started writing stuff. And I had all these notebooks built around that idea because the idea of, what could blind an angel?
There is literally a song here. I know their discography back and forth, but there is literally an astral romance in here. And I'm like, no. All right, Nightwish, you're not being helpful. Okay, next. The problem with me is a lot of the stuff I listen to is in another. Oh wait, it's in another language. I should use that to my advantage.
Yeah, you should. You should absolutely use that to your advantage.
I was thinking of lyrics that lyrics definitely are inspiring. One of my favorite lyrics ever of just the most emo. I don't know quite what the phrase is, but just sort of incel, but I'm so upset at myself and the person I loved was, why don't you show me the little bit of spine you've been saving for his mattress?
Oh, that is some shade.
Oh my God.
It was the line that got me into Fall Out Boy.
And I do love Fall Out Boy titles. Like, my songs Know What You Did in the Dark. I'm like, oh, already you are speaking to me.
I think one thing we could do is when we've got our alphas and betas on the hook with the story is just to say, give me the 3 or 4 strongest words that hit you with this book.
Mm-hmm.
Because Though not only will those be good key tag words later for you to use as keywords, but they could also point you in a direction of a title that would say everything about the book and nothing about the story. And that's really a hook. You need that. The title is the hook. The title is your very first hook to try to get onto someone's TBR list. Is for that title to make them go, huh, I'll put this on my list and to look it up later, because so many people do that. They'll add things to their TBRs that they've never even looked up. Just someone mentioned something about something, and it goes. And we're such a digital society. It's just one tap and a tap on a link and then a tap on a save, and you've got that on your TBR. And that's the first step to getting into someone's TBR and to getting beyond their TBR, is to have a title that makes them say,
Right.
So what I'm hearing is I need to rename most of my books Weird Gay
Same.
What?
Yeah, I mean, like, I was just thinking, like, am I queerer than you bargained for? Like, I'm like, yes, I have now also followed in this. I would definitely, if I saw that title as far as like a queer romance or something, be like, I'm gonna put it in the TBR. I will review later and see, but I like that title enough to put it in my listing to look at later.
I have a
I
have a title
I
now.
still like Trampires.
I'm just
Vampires in space.
Oh, I was just
Vampires
thinking
and Trampires in space.
trampy vampires. Honestly, I was just thinking trampy vampires. Like, honey, if you are trying to pick up people outside of a dumpster, you a trampy vampire. Like,
All right, what'd you get, doll?
It's just a joke, of course, but I'm gonna title this "He's Supposed to Be the Astral Assassin." It's a joke.
Yes.
I was just thinking like, oh, you want queer romance? How about a game of beds and deadbolts?
Oh, dear. Is that like a Frankenstein romance? Where are we going?
That would be a game of beds and neck bolts.
Oh, excuse me, my bad.
That's where you're bringing your lovers
But
back to life.
also, if it is a Frankenstein monster romance, I definitely would be like putting that in the TBR of like, you have my attention. Where are we going?
Okay, the new Frankenstein. No, Frankenstein in space. No, that doesn't work. No, come on. I mean, Frankenstein is one of the things that the kids mock him with. Like, they call him Frankenstein, but no, that doesn't work. No, I don't know what to do.
Lovers Return.
That's necromancy. Well,
The corpse flew first class. Yeah.
A game of gags.
A game of gags and leash. Oh, good lord.
Are you just naming
Is that a title for one of your stories, Charlie?
It would make me double take of like, okay, let me look at the cover. Maybe I'll go now read the blurb of, do I want to add this to my TBR? You have a point of like, yeah, when you play around with these titles and like all these places that we look for inspiration for good titles or eye-catchy titles, this is how we do it. And we giggle for hours. This is like how we'll spend an evening when Tom and I have enough time together to like have dinner and watch a movie, but sometimes we don't watch the movie. Sometimes it's like, okay, I need a good tip. What do we get?
Oh, Friday Night Murder Club.
Ooh.
Nice.
Wednesday. I'm busy on Fridays.
Cherry's got you, Charlie.
I'm here.
I just clicked it, Tom. You were here the whole time.
I was looking at the chitlick titles, and I'm now just thinking about, straight talk with my gay friends.
Gay talk with my straight friends.
I was someday going to write my own autobiography of I am my gay friend's girlfriend because I'm ace.
Nice.
Someday it's like I'm my gay friend's girlfriend because we're screening. Like he's my boyfriend and I'm the girlfriend. So like so no one else would bother us. Something like that would be cool, but I don't know how to write that yet. Yet, someday.
Yeah, give it time.
Yeah, that was a good title for me. It's the gay friend's girlfriend, but yeah, I don't know.
The Ace Guide to Lavender Beards.
Oh, shut up and take my money. Oh, I would slap somebody to get that book.
Bye, Neil.
That's
don't,
almost
don't look at me. No.
that's almost
Yeah,
as
I would
bad as the
definitely be
Power
like-
Mushroom trilogy.
It would be like pre-order. Let's see. Yeah. Let it be like an Ace, type non-romance romance or something. Like some.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. It's like when it already has an acerbic wit title, then I know I'm hoping anyway, it's gonna be clever. Yes, it'll be a fun ride.
Well, so Cherry put up In Her Shoes, but what I'm thinking is the Cinderella slipper, and it's a runaway prince story.
Hmm.
He keeps slipping away. He keeps finding all of these girls and bringing them out of the dumps, and then just running away from them.
Nice pun.
Oh, what are those? What are those shoes that feel kind of like marshmallows? I don't know what they were called. Like they got popular.
Crocs?
Well, there's Crocs, and then there's other ones that were actually like really. They had a
The
marshmallow.
Earth shoes that were open-toed sandals that had really squishy bottoms.
Yeah.
Are you talking about wedges?
No.
No.
I
Uggs.
can't think of it right now. But,
Maybe that's it. Uggs.
but truly, in the meantime, Cinderella's Crocs.
Okay, so when I finally write my queer retelling of
Everglades.
Cinderella, it just needs to be named like Click Clack Glass Slippers.
Or how about I cut off my toes for this?
Cinderella wore a chocolata. Like,
or just Cinderella in chancladas.
There, Cinderella in chancladas.
You mean the what is this word?
The slipper doesn't
like a
fit.
flip flop kind of.
Oh, you mean chancletas? Okay.
Yeah. I guess like the accent that I keep hearing around here is chanclata instead of chancleta.
Okay. Yeah. Same. That's. I got confused for a moment because I was like, oh, okay. No, yeah, but that's Latina Cinderella. Definitely,
Yeah,
that's
like
happening.
But like you could do Cinderella in like a culturally specific shoe or footwear.
Yeah.
Yes. Cinderella in Uggs.
You could go all the
And
way back to
you got an
Rhoda, which
idea.
was the first Cinderella, the Greek myth Cinderella, which is
Mhm.
Rhoda. And then there's an Indian Priamsvia. I can't even say the name.
Oh yeah.
There's a Hindi Cinderella, and then there is a Mandarin Cinderella.
I think
So-
also there's a North American First Nations Cinderella. I just can't remember which. There was something in a fur shoe. Because I was reading about it a couple years ago.
It's an American. It's a nativization of the European.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not. There's not.
I wondered why the article did not go into more detail. I was like,
Yeah,
tell me
no,
more specifically.
It's attempting to redify a white.
Okay, because they were trying to claim that the Cinderella story is universal and like all these cultures come up with it independently. And most of them they did is pretty deep reference, so I could like literally put books on my to be read in reference to these. And then for the North American, I was like, why tell me enough that I could find it.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I do have a question about this. So okay, it's a question about like how good is it or bad or is it, or maybe it could be a thing that I do, like it's a dull thing to do, kind of. So
Once Upon a Diva. Sorry, Dal.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't even know what's going on in the chat. So one of the things I do sometimes is because not always, and I try not to do it all the time, is that I title my short stories with a word in another language, even if the story is in English. It's like Nakemetan, which means invisible, or Painayainen, which means nightmare. And so I do that kind of stuff, but I don't know if it's a good idea, and I'm not going to do it in my novels. I just did it for my short stories because, yeah, short stories, why not? Try, experiment. But so how can you take advantage of other languages and using them in your
So,
title? Like, what
so
can you
for
do about
that,
this?
you need to think about titling for third graders. And what I mean by that is in chapter books, using new and multisyllabic words is not a problem, but you always give context clues.
Yeah.
And so you would use the foreign word and then kind of give some clue with a second and third word of what is it doing or what is it.
Interesting.
So which one was the Nakananan? I think I listened to that one. I read it.
Which one?
Well, another thing is like when I was writing Spartan Chimera, when I did the original plot draft of it, I had all of the chapters titled in Greek words. And
I love that.
And I found, well, I ran into a very interesting problem though, as I ran into a problem of having to sort the ancient Greek from the modern Greek, and also not being able to have these specialized Cyrillic characters for the Greek language in the English edition. Bless.
Those demons, Tom.
They got opinions.
Yeah.
But like, to me at least, usually as long as you give contextual clues about it, people are more than curious about, well, what is this word? I don't know. I mean, humans love a mystery, but they love a mystery that is attainable. If it's a mystery that can't be solved, they will get upset, and that's where you get rage quitting.
Yeah.
Or the other thing is who was the iWriterly wrote her book, wrote her blurb, put her title out, and then everybody got upset because it wasn't a
That
space
is not
opera. It wasn't what she
sci-fi.
represented.
I
They
am one
practically
of
ran her off
them.
author.
I am one of them. That is not sci-fi.
So, it's like when you're picking titles, not only do you need to be genre aware, story aware, sensitivity aware, because there are books that you would not want. My internet is blinking because the wind has started blowing. That you have to be very careful titling a book, but then you also you want that title to be your hook. You want it to be your first step onto the TBR, and then you want it to be the hook that gets you off the TBR into the actual being read. And so it's very Glory's posting a bunch of titles here. Our fairy godmother wore flip-flops. Cherry posted the best day of somebody else's life. That sounds like a title for My Sister Stole My Wedding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Little Red Riding Hood in sequence, the Robot War sequence. The Robot War sequence reminds me of that Android Cinderella story that came out a few years ago. I can't remember the name of it.
Cinder.
But
Cinder? Maybe
it was just Cinder. Yeah, I think so. But I don't remember. I didn't remember the name of the story, but I remember
Lunar
the
Chronicles
story.
and
Cinder. On the Lunar Base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I have never
it's-
read any of those YA stuff, but I know all the names because everybody talks about them. So that I am great with the titles, even though I have never read the books. So I am your opposite.
Every good deed ends in murder. Cherry, that's life
Good.
right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Every good
Yeah.
deed ends in death.
One of my favorite
This is
titles
difficult.
for an episode in a TV show ever, and my most disappointed because my idea for the show was so much better, was from Torchwood, and it's called They Keep Killing Susan. And it was like, that's just a fun title and concept of when you have one character that keeps dying.
Right.
And it's
Oh,
like, why is it so hard to
Kinney
keep someone
syndrome.
alive?
It's Kinney syndrome.
It's the
Oh my God, they killed Kinney.
Yep.
Sorry, Colorado, South Park.
Got to make a reference.
Got to make a reference.
How is this a long-running series? It hurts my head.
Oh, you don't even. Oh, you
The
don't.
streets
you
are
don't
not
know.
okay. I've
I mean,
answered.
that is the real answer I've
Yes.
now learned.
I drive through South Park, Colorado every time I go to Buena Vista. And it's Buena, not Buena, even though it's spelled Buena. It's Buena Vista.
Oh, like that's the way Mississippians are able to suss out who's from Mississippi and who's not. Is all the French words are not pronounced like French in South Mississippi, but so many towns have a French name. Like it is not Saucier, Mississippi, as much as people want it. It is Saucier.
Well, in Texas, there's a town that is spelled like Bourne, like the Bourne identity, but everyone there calls it Bernie.
Or the
It's
one that
Bernie,
hurts me
Texas.
on national news and the Weather Channel. That's just I know what they're going to say. Please don't. It is not Mobile, Alabama. It does
not a
not
place.
walk.
Nobody's
It does
going
not walk.
to. Yeah.
Waxahachie, Texas.
Or Biloxi, when they say Biloxi, no, there's no Biloxi. It's Biloxi.
I heard someone say Biloxi on the Weather Channel, literally on the National Weather
Yeah.
I
Channel
just
the
want
other
you to know
day.
this is literally how the Weather Channel hazes new meteorologists.
They also said Houston for Houston.
What? Where are they living? Under a rock?
oh my goodness! Like I am supposed to be the one with ugly English,
Right.
you know?
Have you met a Merkin?
American.
Like we invented bad pronunciation. Like that's how we named everything here.
Yeah,
But
but like
I mean,
whoa.
you could get a lot of traction on a title that no one could pronounce one of the words for, or that everyone had a different pronunciation for the word.
I'm just gonna make a Finnish title then. It's like everything in Finnish. Like there you go, darlings. Pronounce it.
you make one word in Finnish and then one word in Italian.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh,
American.
Wait. Finnish and Spanish then.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense for my book. Huh. It
No
really
one will pronounce
does.
it right.
No one will ever say it right except for me. And probably my mom.
But it will sound very sci-fi, and
Right.
in a different place. I've just literally used the words, for moth in Finnish, and spider in Spanish. No, everyone knows.
No.
Reverse that. Everyone knows spider in Spanish.
Yeah. But not in Finnish.
Yeah, I'm like, just truly have fun with it.
Yeah. I'm going to do this. I'm going to use the other language thingy that I have always done. I'm going to put it in my book somewhere. It's a dull book. Why not? Let's try
Just
that.
make sure to use an English verb or adjective.
Yes.
That's the trick. That's what makes everyone curious of like, okay, but what is this doing what? Now I need to know.
Yay, I can do this. This sounds like a lot of fun. Huh. Oh.
And that's the real secret to any creative outlet is you need to have fun with it first, and then other people will have fun with you.
Yeah, I don't know how to have fun sometimes. Too serious or like too caught up in trying to make it right. Yeah, that's a problem.
Well, you could use Star, Spider, and Assassin as the title and have each of the words in a different language.
No. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe. Yeah. Yeah, my brain is just like spinning right now.
Like a spider making a web.
Yeah. It's very symbolic. This spider and the moth thingy is very symbolic. It's in the book, it's everywhere. It's like easy to spot. So yeah, that's why I chose it. But if this formula of the thing and that, this and that is a meme now, maybe not. So I can do something else. Ah,
Yeah, it's I when I renamed the one that was called the um Allies and Enemies was the working title, and when I renamed it the Dust Shadow Insurgents and Allies from Dust, I it became just Allies and Enemies was basically the concept of the two sides like
yeah.
dividing their forces. And so that then when I had to actually go to working titles to put it onto Kindle Vella, then I needed something that more told the story. And one of the things of the stories that was going on in the stories is that the Dust Dimension shadow entities were actually invading into the overworld and possessing people. And so that is how I came up with that title. And then at the end of that book, when one of the characters actually gets dragged into the other dimension, ends up a prisoner of war, and then she escapes and goes back and rescues other prisoners that were in that dimension. And
I
so
hear
that,
I hear stranger things when you talk about this.
yeah, it's kind of like that.
Hmm. I
But
mean,
it's just,
I did
but
not
I'm
like.
from, like I said, I'm from the old 1970s naming conventions where you have a specific thing and a specific thing, and they both relate to the book.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, I mean, I did not like season 3 of Stranger Things much, but I do like this idea of the other dimension thing. It reminded me of that.
Mhm.
All
Hmm.
right, I think we are about gone through our ideas to kind of show people how to play the game
Mhm.
and the fun you can have, and also the many different uses. Because as I said, like just because you only have one title to use for your story doesn't mean these other titles can't be in your marketing.
Right.
These are, you can still tell what grabs you, and when you tell other people, you hear really quick what grabs them.
Yeah.
Like you can actually use titles that didn't quite work as well for your alpha and beta readers. You can use those referenced in the blurb, in your back cover blurb, in your longer blurb, because you actually have to come up with at least 3 different blurbs. Your like short 3-line blurb, your 1 to 2 paragraph blurb, and your 3 to 4 paragraph blurb. So as long as you write down at least any title that kind of struck you as interesting, later you can use those to insert or to play around with that title alternative as as part of your sentence in the blurb. And these will come in handy because you'll be at a certain point, you're like, how many different ways can I say the same plot? Well, all these alternative titles can be very helpful because at a certain point, you're still playing the Jingo game. Are you really just trying to like keyword people so they understand that they're going to get what they are expecting? Hopefully, that is what you're giving your readers, is what they're expecting. And so believe me, no title is a waste of time. Even if you're like, all I come up with 90% bad titles, like, yeah, that's fine. Because you'd be surprised where you can later use them in your marketing and promotion materials, in your blurb materials, everywhere else. So do not throw those sheets away. If I could get writers to do one thing, it would be stop destroying your old work because you thought it was crap at the time.
I have to agree. I agree with Glory because hey, I don't have a professional cover design yet, but I made a sketch and I'm using it. It's a working, and I always say this is subjected to change. This is not the final thing. It's like this is what I have right now. It's okay.
Yeah. So don't throw away your past creative works, even this, like where you're just riffing on titles. Maybe you're with a friend over live stream, like private live stream, like Zoom, or what we do here is, we'll do on StreamYard, but we don't broadcast. And we'll just riff with a friend and just literally giggle and play for an hour or so. Don't throw away those titles. Keep them for later, for when you're like, I have run out of creativity and I still need to make more promotional materials and I have no more words. I am so done. And it's like, dust off all these crap titles. See what comes to mind.
I mean, before this stream,
reading it on Discord,
right?
Reading it on Discord and do it.
Yes, absolutely. You can get on Discord and voice chat. In my Discord server, anybody, I believe, can start a voice chat. If not, let me know.
Yeah. And there's like the channel where you can just go there and
you can start a voice chat. We've got 3 different channels. There's plenty of other Discord servers also that have voice chats available, and you can just start chatting with people about, hey, since you've wandered in, unsuspecting person in the voice chat, can I give you a couple titles, or can I give you my blurb idea or my marketing idea, and you tell me what you think?
And we have a great author. We have a great little corner of AuthorTube where we're at. We have a very lovely tribe. Yes. And like whenever anybody's doing streams, if you hop onto one of the streams in the chats and say, hey, I have this idea. Hey, I have this thing. And always somebody is willing to like help you out to you'll get feedback and it's like, I think we're really blessed over in our little corner of AuthorTube that we don't have a lot of the harpies and the trolls.
Thank goodness.
And so knock on wood.
That's what we always did around here is when you don't have wood, knock on wood, knock on your head.
I have to go. I've got to get stuff done for the evening. Yeah. Oh, I still have. Speak of saving everything. I still have a murder mystery that Eva and Chandra and Nia and I came up one night on one of Chandra's tarot and sprinting streams that we carried on about laughing so much for like an hour and a half. And I still have that saved, and I keep every once in a while when I like need a distraction, I'll look at it and go, do I really want to write the boobily boobs mystery?
Oh, do they boobily walk everywhere? Please say yes.
They were boobily.
So boobily walking.
Yeah. They were boobily boobing. All right.
It's okay. Maggie's got chores. We're going to wrap up, and then we are going to meet over in the Discord server.
Oh, yeah, Glory. I think I never got to the Discord server because, I was kind of absent. But
yes. I will send you a link.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And okay, so in the meantime, I would like to point out that very soon, everybody who I didn't know was showed up. Links will be down below for the rewatchers, since we know we've got a pretty decent number of people who watch the show after initial broadcast. So everybody's links will be down below. And if you have new links, yes, be sure to let me know so I can update your info. For next week, April 25th, we are going to talk about editing your works for pacing and flow. There are a couple tricks that we found over the years that help with this. We've got several of them, and we want to share all those. Plus, if anyone else has any to share, we absolutely would love to hear it. Share it with everybody else, because again, that's, as Maggie says, that's what our tribe, our little tribe of writers, is about. Really creatives, because most of us don't just write, but little group of creative people who we've got all sorts of little tips and tricks to make the creative work less exhausting and difficult and painful. Coffee is a mug part of it. Oh, the bees. Yes, absolutely. So I just want to also point that out, that we'll be doing that next week. So also, if you have any questions, you have any things you want us to be sure to cover in the following episode that you hear about, please let us know ahead of time. So if are you going to be covering this? That way we know to actually do it. Feedback is our friend. So I just wanted to also point that out. Y'all, obviously, I hope by now it is obvious that this little corner of AuthorTube is not like other little corners of AuthorTube. That we like feedback, and we like people telling us what you really think, in a compassionate way, but still telling us what you really think, because it makes our work better. We know that means other people are enjoying it more. That is why we keep coming back every week for years now. Why do I keep doing this show? Because y'all keep coming back. So I hope that Maggie had to go do chores and the wind was picking up Charlie, so that may have been what got her. I'm sure when the wind dies down, she'll return. So I just wanted to mention that. And for the record, the May schedule is up. And May 2nd, we're going to talk about Excel tutorials, because it was requested. So it'll be all spreadsheets the whole time. I hope someone is excited about it.
I need that thing because I'm blind and I don't know how to do spreadsheets.
Okay, because I used to teach Excel, and to me it's nothing. But I also realize I'm coming from a place of privilege, because I was forced to work in Excel starting in the 90s. And so to me, I'm just it's just a way of life. It's like breathing. You just do it in the Excel and that's it. But, to those who were not forced into the indoctrination young, like I was, I could see where it's intimidating. Absolutely. I get it. And Google Sheets is the devil. I thought Excel was the devil. Turns out it raised up Google Sheets to be an even greater Lucifer. Whatever. Okay.
You'll have to teach me how to color code those things, so I can navigate
not
it.
Hard. I am here to tell you, there are things that are hard about Excel and Google Sheets. That is not one of the hard ones. So yeah, we can work on that.
Thank
you. I do have some 19th century necromancers grimoires back there that will really help with the Excel.
I mean, I may have done several blood sacrifices, and maybe that's why it's not so hard for me anymore. I don't know, but I am going to do my best to pass on the knowledge so that you two do not have to lead for her.
Gloria and I are probably some of the few people you might ever know who have been paid for our Excel work.
Yeah, and our database work and all of it. What? And Brian, are you pointing at Brian?
What?
The hubby?
Got paid for your Excel work.
Yes.
For your Excel work.
Oh, yeah.
So, I just wanted to point out May 2nd is Excel tutorials. May 9th is basic photo editing tutorials. We're going to specifically go over Snapseed since it is free software, and you can use it both on, at least I know Android. I don't know about iPhone, but you can use it on it. So you can use it on iPhone as well.
I use Snapseed a lot.
And you can use it on Windows computers. Charlie, do you know if you can download it for Macs?
I have not tried.
I haven't checked. It's y'all. I'm a teacher, so I only prepare for the week before the show. I never. Anyway.
But I have already checked, and I can link. Windows at least does allow you to do Android phone linking, and I can share screen from my Android, so we can also show you on here. I can cast the screen so we can actually show you on the phone how to click on it versus on a desktop how it works.
And if we have time, which I'm sure we'll have some time, we are also going to go over basic Photoshop tutorials. Like, I understand that Photoshop is so intimidating, and rightfully so. But we're going to go over the most basic, what you need so that your regular image pops, and what is the philosophical theory behind that so that you are more likely to get your image to pop. I have tested this on a couple students who really had some needs, and how would I say, not natural photographers. So, like, really having to teach from the literal ground up. So I know these techniques are tried and true. And that is what we're planning to go over on May 9th, May 16th. This is the time when you bring out your favorite writer tools and resources, every single one of them, both like physical books, but also anything online. We're going to just literally dump them in, and then Tom will record all of them and put them as a series of comments, depending on how many we have. We're going to post them for everybody.
And also,
you name it, we are posting. So everybody bring out your list. And if you don't know if you can attend live in chat or online or on screen, then you can send it to us ahead of time, and we will post them on your behalf.
And and that includes stuff like Snapseed, InShot, and other tools for things that are adjacent to your writing. That like you need to make an Instagram post. Canva is your friend.
Canva is my everything. I should make Canva tutorials, and I don't know how to teach. So yeah, but I use Canva for everything.
Go over it as you do it, and you just show it. You just do it like you do it, only you say out loud what you're doing. It's
like, if anyone has seen my videos, if anyone has ever seen my latest videos, the ones with the animal thingies, that's all on Canva, and then like InShot or KineMaster. But like the images, the videos, the graphics, the avatar, everything happened on Canva before I started editing the video. Everything.
Yeah, and so that's what we're going to go over on May 16th, May 23rd. Writing enhancements. And what that is like when you read something and you're not ready to leave that world. Often readers will look for other ways to engage with the story. And that includes things like online scavenger hunts. That includes I've known people who literally would physically go to the locations mentioned in a story and just walk around to experience it, but also like cooking the foods mentioned in a story and other ways that readers love to engage, how you as the writer can make this more available to your readers in an easy, no tears way. Which I believe Charlie's going to try to join us for that one too. So I'm really looking forward to that.
That's kind of my entire business model.
Yeah, I was going to say that's like your whole deal, and I love that because like when I get into a story world, I don't want to leave. I am like, how dare you rip me back out? Now I am in a story hole. I hate it.
Sharing my pictures of Georgian food on my Instagram in 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Absolutely, exactly. So that's all we're going to talk about on May 23rd is writing enhancements. And then on May 30th, for our final episode, we're going to talk about more writing games. We're going to play more writing games. And it is an Ask Me Anything. This was Tom's pitch. I don't see why anybody would want to ask us anything. And then he said, fine, we'll open it up to reference questions too. So if you have ever wondered, what did the sky look like when dinosaurs roamed the earth? Well, yes, I have been asked that. And I do know where to find that one. So you can also just ask, like, but if a dragon converted to Judaism, how would it kosher their food? So again, well, yes, I do know where to find this information. So that is like the deal Tom made when he was like, people want to ask you questions. And I'm like, nobody gives a crap about me. Can we please open it up to just any question on the planet you've ever wondered and didn't know where to ask? Yes, you can also put those in. Tom is going to set up a way for people to start giving us those questions now so that I have time to find good references for it. So please start sending us your questions, DMing your questions for that May 30th episode where we play writing games and answer all your questions.
About life, the universe, and everything.
Everything. Yes, Charlie? That face.
Oh, no,
pure expectancy.
I've been very quiet because Brian is home today and has been singing at the top of his lungs a lot and dancing around the house. And making all of the noises.
Is it because he got good sleep? Huh? That's kind of strange.
I mean, you stop with the dancing.
I bet he's cute. So yeah,
I heard that cackling.
That's the show lineup. I hope y'all have marked your calendar or will mark your calendar to join us for any and all of it. We'd love to see you both on screen and in the chat.
And so what's next week?
So next week is editing for pacing and flow. And we have tricks. We have helped people who really needed help. And we were successful. So I feel confident that you too can be more confident in your pacing and flow in your writing. Every one of you, I promise you. Not that there's anything wrong with your writing, but don't you want to learn more, hone your skills? Because I know I'm always working on my pacing and flow. I will never be done on this one. Is that why you keep muting?
I don't want you to get copyright strikes.
I wondered. But that's only if he sings on key, Charlie.
Actually, because of some of the music he's listening to, I don't know that matters because the original isn't. So
yeah, because I'm just saying, like, I've not gotten a copyright strike once for me singing on this channel, and I think it's because I never sing on the right key.
I have, and
that's because you actually are good at singing and you sing on key, and I do not, or at least on the right key for that piece of music, and I never do because I always insist that I'm only going to sing in my key.
I once got another person's karaoke copyrighted because I sang a song and apparently I did it too good, too well.
Again, you two, you are very talented. I am not, so it works out.
And speaking of singing, if anybody has any interest, we have not set a full date yet, but we are going to be doing the Pride karaoke again this year.
Ooh.
So you can start. That's going to be on Jace Maxwell's channel. So start getting your songs ready for that. And we are also going to be doing the Pride and Prejudice anthology again. This time we're going to be taking submissions in May so that it can actually come out in Pride Month this year.
Mm-hmm. Woohoo!
In fairness, we didn't think about doing it before.
And to be honest, like Pride Month depends on the country anyway.
Yeah.
So.
It depends on the country because in Hungary is in July or August.
Yeah, I feel like it's like pick a month. It's Pride Month somewhere, so that works out. You know.
Yeah.
We're very excited. So if you have some short fiction, start working on it. The announcement will come out on the 1st.
Yes, excellent.
Awesome.
Did anyone else have anything they wanted to say?
No, except my book comes out April next year, and I'm working with an editor. So if I still don't know how am I going to pay the editor. So if you want to support me and you want my book to be read, I have a Ko-fi and a Patreon. You can pick and choose, whichever is more comfortable for you. And yeah, hopefully it gets published in April of next year. And this is why I have been kind of absent. It's because I have been working.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Also,
really hard to make that book shine the best I can with my weird English. So
I recently got all the rights back to my old sci-fi stories, and they are going up over on World Anvil right now. So if you want to read them for the freeze.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I have a current link for your World Anvil thing on your listing for you. So I may need to update that.
Okay.
But that is what us hanging out in the Discord server's for. So anyway, I hope you all will join us in the Discord server, Unicorn Council Discord server in the Clubhouse. We will be there. I will be eventually playing Don't Starve Together with Charlie's lovely hubby. Yes, that vague motion in the blur. Yeah, that one. It like can press buttons. There. Thing. I like to play with Charlie's personal thing.
This is my emotional support demon.
There we go. Yeah, that looks appropriate. Yeah, that feels right. Oh my god. So, On that note, thank you all. We hope you've had a wonderful time hanging out with us. We've had a wonderful time. Well, at least I have. I hope you all have. I don't want to speak for you, but if you did enjoy, please like, share, and subscribe. And be sure to comment below and let us know what you thought. See y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.